Beneath a pitch-black night sky, rain poured down like a waterfall as a young man knelt, a brush in his hand. He sketched grotesque patterns, muttering under his breath, "Grant me fame. Grant me power and wealth. Only then can I cure my mother's illness, pay off all my debts, and have a better life." Just then, the young man's phone vibrated with a flood of notifications about his loans and mounting debts. In a fit of madness, the young man screamed, his eyes burning, "Oh, great being, please have mercy on me, protect and love me. I offer this small soul and body of mine. I willingly become your slave! Let me become your star!" Suddenly, a deafening bolt of lightning tore through the sky, striking the young man's body directly. But as the smoke and dust slowly cleared, all that remained was a broken body, seemingly without a breath of life. Suddenly, the man's eyes flickered open, his head throbbing as if being split by an axe. The young man vaguely remembered being hunched over, working on a project at the company. "Where am I?" he muttered, bewildered. He turned and looked down at a puddle of rainwater, then gasped and screamed, "Is this me? Why is my face changed into this?" Chu Shen stared in stunned horror, realizing that before him stood a colossal, ancient tree, towering into the sky. Chu Shen blurted out in amazement, "Holy hell, where is this?" Amidst his confusion, a strange voice suddenly echoed, "Congratulations, young man. You have successfully summoned me. In return, you may now make 3 wishes. Any wish will do." Chu Shen stared, wide-eyed, at a talking book floating in front of him. There's no such creature on Earth. Could it be that I've really been transmigrated? So this thing is my golden finger? But, as a protagonist's golden finger, isn't 3 wishes a little too stingy? With that thought, he spoke to the book. "Hey, golden finger, my first wish is for 10 more wishes." The book suddenly gave a cold smile. "Ha ha, interesting," it replied, its voice thick with hidden meaning. Suddenly, the book swelled in size, hovering in midair and emitting crackling bolts of lightning. Its voice boomed like thunder. "I thought there was a problem with the pact. Now it seems that's not the case." Witnessing this scene, Chu Shen was filled with terror and hastily took several steps back. Before him was no longer a book, but a strange being. It had the form of a terrifying, ghastly demon, so fearsome it was hair-raising. Its colossal body made everything around it seem tiny. "You," the creature began, its voice probing. "Are you the new soul?" Stunned, Chu Shen staggered and fell to the ground, stammering, "Soul? Pact? What are you talking about? What in the world are you?" The monster's voice replied, full of contempt and sarcasm. "Mortal, you are not worthy to know of my existence. You only need to know that the original owner of this body used his soul and body to pray to me. His soul has already been taken by me. But this body, which rightfully belongs to me, has been occupied by you. Tell me, the one possessing this body, shouldn't you also be considered my property?" Chu Shen's face turned pale as ash. "Holy hell, so this is how I got transmigrated? This thing isn't a golden finger at all. It's obvious I was just a buy-one-get-one-free deal that got dragged along." He thought to himself, "I have to escape this place right now." Sensing Chu Shen's intent to flee, the monster slowly lifted 2 fingers, its tone icy. "Oh, right. I forgot to tell you. Once the pact is established, the moment you have a single thought of violating it, you will immediately suffer relentless torture." Chu Shen's body was engulfed in raging flames. The pain, as if tearing through every fiber of his being, made him scream like a madman. The monster just stood there. Its voice was full of contempt. So you're just a weak soul. This isn't interesting at all. You might as well die." Chu Shen, though exhausted, forced himself to reply, "Due to a breach of contract caused by a force majeure event, Party B shall be exempt from liability. If I am unable to fulfill the pact now, because of your interference, then the liability falls on you. Therefore, you can't use a breach of contract as an excuse to kill me." The monster suddenly paused, then spoke. "Oh, mortal, are you trying to reason with me? Are you trying?" Chu Shen, who was now burned to the point of nearly losing his form, still managed to speak. "I know you are a powerful existence. You could clearly kill me directly. But you didn't do that, which means you're testing me. Testing to see if I am a suitable candidate. So tell me, am I now qualified to sign a new pact with you?" The monster burst out laughing, a sound that echoed like thunder. "Ha ha! Interesting, very interesting. You're the first one who's ever dared to bargain with me. You've piqued my interest, kid." As it finished speaking, a sheet of paper shimmering with a golden light floated down in front of Chu Shen. On the shimmering golden paper, a line of text appeared, asking whether to sign the pact or not. The monster continued, its voice filled with authority. "I've made my decision. If you can grant 1 wish of mine, I will grant you a new life." And my wish is for 999 more wishes. I should remind you. Should. You don't have much time to think it over. In about 1 minute, you will lose consciousness and die. Chushin felt like he'd been backed into a corner with no way out. He thought to himself, why won't this monster just die? Shamelessly copying my wish, he has no shame at all. The monster spoke, his voice filled with pressure. So what have you decided? Chushin forced a faint smile and replied, what else can I say? I'll listen to you, boss. As he finished speaking, the main character quietly signed his name on the shimmering golden paper. One of the clauses on the glittering paper was clearly written. The contract signer, with their soul as collateral, must complete 999 conditions set by the contract issuer. Upon fulfilling all conditions, the signer can activate the lucky reward mechanism. The last line was Chushin's signature. Now, standing before the door of room number 305 in a cold, desolate building, Chushin clutched the key and muttered in frustration. I hope no one saw me in that pathetic state. That bastard of a boss just threw me in here. He recalled their recent conversation. The monster's voice still echoed in his mind. If I need anything, I'll come find you. Chushin frowned, thinking to himself, so what am I supposed to do here? Just whatever I feel like. He thought to himself, normally, aren't people who sign contracts like me supposed to be worked to death like cattle? But then he sighed and shook his head wearily. Whatever. What can I do? He's my boss. At this point, there's no use saying anything. I'll just have to take it one step at a time. Chushin pushed the door open and stepped into the room. His eyes swept over the chaotic scene, furniture in disarray, papers scattered everywhere. He spoke, his voice wavering slightly. Is anyone home? A sense of dread suddenly washed over him, far greater than anything he had ever imagined. He picked up a paper stained with blood, skimmed it, and then cried out in horror, Holy crap! A single mortgage payment requires a donation of 2,000 milliliters of blood? What in the world is going on with this family? Kid! Suddenly, a rough voice boomed like thunder. Hey, kid! Immediately after, an iron pipe swung down, smashing directly into Chushin's head. Blood splattered everywhere. The attacker immediately started yelling, Where the hell have you been? You dare ignore my calls? Are you tired of living? Another man in a black suit standing behind him tried to intervene. Hey, don't kill him! The other man calmly lit a cigarette, a smirk on his face, and replied, It's fine, this kid's a decoy. His body is tough. Chushin's head throbbed with excruciating pain, blood streaming down his face. He whispered, Who are you people? But as soon as the words left his mouth, he was met with several merciless kicks from the man holding the iron pipe. He snarled and cursed. You took out a loan just last week and you've already forgotten? So soon? Hey, are you high on something? And another thing, why haven't I seen that old hag come to sell her blood to pay off the debt? Did she drop dead on the street or something? He sneered, his voice dripping with sarcasm. Saying it out loud just makes people laugh. Your mother is a real idiot. I can't believe she'd be willing to risk her own life to cover a high-interest loan for a useless piece of trash like you. She never seemed to realize that trash will always be trash. Trash background, trash talent. All you do all day is daydream about turning your life around. He paused and spat with contempt. What a pathetic piece of trash. In the end, all you have is a mountain of debt, and you've only just become the lowest-level decoy. Whether it's you or that old hag, neither of you is even worthy of polishing my shoes. Each kick to the head sent Chushin into a hazy memory. In it, the gentle voice of a woman echoed. Little Shen, do you want to quit being a decoy? A young boy's voice replied softly. Yes. I don't want you to work so hard, Mom. Last night I had a dream. I dreamt that you were doing manual labor every single day until you were so tired you fell asleep. And you never woke up again. I don't want that to happen, Mom. What if you don't wake up? What if I never become a decoy? Hearing this, the mother just smiled gently and stroked the boy's head. Little Shen, it's all right. Even if the sky falls, I can handle it. So you need to have more confidence in yourself. But as the memory faded, Chushin's blood-soaked eyes snapped open, a demonic blue light flashing within them. The blonde-haired man was still cursing non-stop. Swinging the iron pipe, he yelled, Hey, you piece of trash, why aren't you saying anything? But as the words left his mouth, a terrifying punch from Chushin slammed right into his face. The punch was so powerful it sent the blonde man flying. He tumbled across the ground. Hearing the loud crash, his two cronies quickly tried to intervene. Hey, stop hitting him! You'll kill him! You should stop! Before they could finish, a figure shot past them. Their comrade was sent flying, crashing into the wall with enough force to shatter it. The punch knocked the blonde man out cold. He was completely knocked out. The remaining two witnessed the scene. They were scared out of their wits, screaming in terror. The one who just flew over, wasn't that the kid? No, something's not right here. But this aura, could it be? That kid broke through to star rank? Chushen was now crackling with electricity, his eyes burning with fury as he roared. What's so wrong with someone from the lowest class wanting to turn their life around? All your damn rambling is just asking for death. Now shut the hell up. The remaining two looked at him with wary eyes, thinking to themselves, this guy is clearly just an E-rank stage 2, yet he dares to be so arrogant. Antoine, go teach him a lesson. Break one of his arms and a leg. One of them voiced his agreement while the other nodded. And so, both of them charged forward with ferocious momentum. The main character observed the power radiating from his own body. He thought to himself, they said an E-rank, stage 2 decoy? Is this the power they were talking about? Observing the movements of those two, he realized their ranks were clearly far above his. The one in the black suit charged first, his aura ferocious. The protagonist watched every one of his opponent's moves, each attack appearing crystal clear in his eyes. A sharp, cold glint flashed in his eyes as a club in the enemy's hand swung down, smashing hard against the floor. Dust billowed up. When it settled, Chushen's figure had vanished. The man in the black suit was startled for a moment, a bad feeling creeping up on him, but it was too late. From behind, the protagonist launched a vicious kick, aiming straight for his head. Unable to dodge in time, the man in the black suit took the full force of the blow. Fresh blood sprayed out. Witnessing this, the other man rushed forward to help. He charged, roaring internally with frustration. Damn it, isn't this kid supposed to be just an E-rank too? How could he possess such terrifying strength and speed? He told himself he had reached his opponent's blind spot. All he had to do was strike and he could break Chushen's ribs. But life is never that simple. Chushen spun around and unleashed a lightning-fast kick. It was aimed straight at the enemy's chest. The powerful kick was too much for the man to bear. Blood spewed from his mouth, his eyes filled with shock and disbelief. He thought to himself, how could this kid, without even looking, still pinpoint my position? How can his power be this monstrous? Powerless, the man in the black suit collapsed, trembling and begging, spare us. We were just following orders. It was Lin Yu. He's the one who sent us to collect the debt. Chushen frowned. He had no idea who Lin Yu was, but he looked coldly at the kneeling man and said in a gruff voice, I'll pay back the debt in full. Tell him not to bother me again, and take these other guys with you. Get out. The men quickly agreed, helping each other out the door. As silence fell, Chushen's expression grew thoughtful, his eyes sharp. Then he spoke. You're watching, aren't you, master? As soon as the words left his mouth, a mysterious book quietly emerged from a tear in space. Its tone was full of surprise. Oh? You can see my existence? Your intuition is sharp. Chushen frowned, his expression doubtful as he spoke. A moment ago, I felt a very strange surge of power inside my body. I guessed that maybe you were secretly helping me out, master. The book, or rather, the master, replied in a smug tone, That's right. If this great one hadn't temporarily lent you a bit of power, you would have been beaten to a pulp by now. You should be grateful. Chushen's voice rang with excitement. So that's how it was. Master, you really are my ultimate cheat, aren't you? If you can lend me your power any time from now on... Hearing this, the book furiously shouted, In your dreams! The power of this great one isn't something a mere mortal like you can handle. What happened just now was a lucky fluke where you didn't go over the limit. Otherwise, you wouldn't have needed them to attack. You would have just exploded on your own. Unwilling to give up, Chushen immediately retorted, So are there no benefits at all to working for you? Besides, if I can become stronger, it'll be easier to fulfill your wishes, right? The book looked at the protagonist and said slowly, Relax. As per our contract, this great one will grant you a useful reward. But as for the specifics, I haven't thought of it yet. But if you want to borrow my power, I advise you not to even dream about it, unless you want to die faster. With that, the book closed its eye and quietly fell silent. Chushen sighed, forced to accept it. But inside, the book's thoughts were racing. This kid. He's truly beyond my expectations. Not only did he borrow more power than I anticipated, but he also controlled it quite stably. Could this kid be my fateful turning point? The protagonist suddenly spoke, his voice full of doubt. So, have you decided on the second wish yet? The book replied evasively. The what? Chushen repeated, annoyed. The second wish. Didn't you tell me to fulfill your wishes? The book chuckled softly. That. I still haven't thought of it. It then continued in a mysterious tone. Don't worry. I've already thought of quite a few. When the time is right, you'll know. Chushen frowned in confusion. Huh? So what exactly do you want me to do? The book replied nonchalantly. Who cares? Do whatever you want. Chushen shook his head, thinking to himself, I know absolutely nothing about this world. There are so many things I need to find out. I was hoping to use its wish to get some kind of goal. Looks like I can't rely on this guy. He decided to check the kid's phone first. If he had to live this guy's life, he should at least understand the situation. Scrolling through the messages, Chu Shun was stunned. It was all debt notifications and receipts for expensive health supplements. How could this useless stuff be so costly? Suddenly, a text message startled him. "Mom is in a coma. She's been hospitalized. Get to Tianlei Hospital now." Panicked, Chu Shun rushed to the hospital and pushed open the door to the room. Inside, a girl was sitting quietly by the bed, intently watching the patient. Chu Shun's gaze was slightly awkward, unable to hide his bewilderment. He looked at the girl before him. He thought to himself, "She must be Chu Yeting, my sister. And the person in the hospital bed is Mom. But all this suffering, is it all because of me?" He scratched his head, hesitantly stepping forward. In a low voice, he said, "Sis, I'm sorry I'm late. How's Mom?" Chu Yeting heard him. Her eyes, ice-cold and filled with resentment, stared back at him as she replied, "What's your excuse this time? Breakthrough training? Busy summoning gods for some grand purpose? Mom collapsed from exhaustion working to pay off your debts. Why? Why couldn't you even come to see her? She gave you everything. Everything our family had, she gave to you. Don't you get it? To pay your debts? Mom didn't even have the money for the intensive care unit. She held on through sheer willpower. She almost died. Do you even realize that?" Tears streamed down her cheeks, her voice choked with emotion. "I'm sorry, Xiaoshun. Mom and I are both tired." His sister, Chu Duyetin, quietly took out a card, her voice low and sad. "Xiaoshun, Mom and I are just tired. This is your living expenses for 6 months. I'll take care of Mom from now on." Chu Shun was stunned, a look of disbelief in his eyes, and managed to ask, "Sister, are you?" But Chu Duyetin just answered coldly, "From now on, we have no relationship." As he stepped out of the hospital, a heavy atmosphere enveloped him. The book suddenly spoke. Its voice was probing. "I can sense your anxiety. But why would this girl's words hit you so hard? To you, she's just a stranger, isn't she?" Chu Shen chuckled, his voice tinged with bitterness. "I didn't expect you to know how to comfort people. I'm fine. She just reminds me of the past, that's all. Back then, I was just like I am now, clearly wanting to say something, but unable to get a single word out." The book huffed, its tone somewhat gruff. "Just as long as you don't let this delay. My wish, that's all that matters." Chu Shen looked at the book, his gaze firm. "You said that if I prove my worth, you'll help me become stronger, right? If I just become strong enough, I'll be able to make up for all of this, won't I?" The book chuckled, its voice smug. "Of course, on the condition that you show me your worth." In its thoughts, it mused, "Ha! A point in destiny, huh? Don't disappoint me, kid." In Tai Dat City, inside a spacious room of a glittering nightclub, a low voice spoke. "The profits this time are pretty good. Keep increasing the investment." The man, with 2 beautiful girls draped over his shoulders, commanded with an air of authority. "Also, contact that side. Tell them to speed up the collection process. The higher-ups won't wait much longer." A nearby underling bowed respectfully and replied, "Yes, boss. There's one more thing. According to our investigation, the organization in Area A had some trouble collecting. 3 of them were injured by a student." Hearing this, the boss frowned, his anger flaring. "Humph. I remember their collection period isn't for a while yet. Those bastards must be trying to make some extra cash on the side. It's because of self-righteous trash like them that the number of people coming to me for loans keeps shrinking. Just handle it according to the rules." The underling hesitated, his voice full of uncertainty. "Yes, I'll punish them. But this situation is a bit special. 2 of those guys were a level 3 apprentice spell user and a level 2 apprentice. According to them, the one who injured them was a student who had just broken through to level 2 apprentice." Hearing this, the leader's eyes instantly turned ice-cold, his voice deepening. "Who?" He clenched the paper with Chu Shun's information, muttering in his head, "A kid who's only level 2? How could he defeat a level 3 and a level 2 at the same time? Even the weakest level 3 apprentice should be able to take on 10 level 2 apprentices. The gap in levels can't be overcome by skill alone. Could it be this kid's true strength is already at level 3? He smirked, a look of amusement on his face. "Ha! Trying to hide his real power? Interesting." He then tossed the paper back to his underling and gave a decisive order. "Keep an eye on him for me. We absolutely cannot let talent like this go to waste." Under the gentle morning sun of the neighborhood, Chu Shen warmed up his body, preparing for his morning exercise. Suddenly, a middle-aged uncle saw him and called out cheerfully, "Oh, Chu Shen! Waking up so early these days, are we?" Chu Shen smiled back. "Good morning, uncle." The uncle chuckled and continued, "I just got a new batch of Type A primary chi supplements. Only 400 a bottle. Want one? Chushen shook his head cheerfully. Sorry, I still have some left. I'll come find you after I finish it. Hearing this, the uncle nodded, his voice friendly. All right, I'll give you a discount then. I just have a feeling this kid is much happier than before. He grinned mischievously, adding, Got a girlfriend, have you? Youth really is a wonderful thing. But as he trained, Chushen was lost in thought. After leaving the hospital, he had spent a few days getting used to his new body and diligently researching materials. Many of his memories gradually merged, and he had grasped the basic knowledge of this world. Here, people commonly use special chi supplements to increase their strength. Those who use them are called spell users. But the price of becoming a spell user is not cheap. That was also the reason he was carrying a huge debt on his shoulders. Although he wasn't sure what the upper limits of a spell user's power were, he knew for sure that even the lowest level spell user possessed a physique, far beyond that of an ordinary person. He thought to himself, you can get stronger just by drinking potions? No wonder everyone spends whatever it takes to become a spell user. If it were the old me, I wonder how long I would have had to train to achieve this kind of strength. A phone suddenly rang, cutting through Chushen's thoughts. He frowned, thinking, who would be calling this early in the morning? As soon as he answered, a loud shout made him jump. Chushen, did you forget about school? This is the class president. Your leave of absence is over. The teachers asked me to remind you to come back to school. I called you last night. You didn't forget, did you? Chuthan quickly replied, his voice a bit flustered. I remember, I'm already up. But inwardly, he breathed a sigh of relief, thinking to himself, phew, I almost completely forgot. Back at school, in the classroom, the teacher was lecturing, her voice steady yet captivating. Class, we've just finished discussing the history of users. Now we'll talk about the role of users in the economy. She paused, her eyes sweeping across the class before continuing. A user's status is determined by their actual power and is distinguished by their rank. In this world, the realms are divided into 6 levels. E rank has 6 stages and D rank has 8 stages. C rank has 10 stages, B rank has 12 stages, A rank has 14 stages, and finally, there's S rank. You must reach the highest stage of your current rank to break through to the next one. It's said that those who reach S rank are no different from gods, the teacher emphasized, her voice lowering. To match the power of users, the world is divided into 5 strata. Normal people in E ranks belong to the 5th stratum, called the outer layer, which is also the lowest. From the 4th stratum upwards is called the central layer, which symbolizes power and strength. To enter this layer, you must be at least D rank. Chuthan pondered to himself. I'm currently at the lowest rank, E rank. To get more resources, I have to enter the central layer. It seems the most important thing now is to find a way to quickly increase my power. As he was lost in thought, a small stone suddenly flew and hit the back of his head. Behind him, 2 stone throwers snickered, their voices full of mockery. Ha! Bullseye! The other one chimed in, laughing loudly. Look, he's glaring at us. Tisk, tisk, what's he glaring at? Does he think he's hot stuff just because he ranked up with the written exam? Ha ha! Even though we're both first ranks, I feel like you could make him explode with one punch. Chuthan just sighed softly and shook his head wearily. You really do run into this type of person everywhere. From the podium, the teacher suddenly spoke up, her voice clear. Oh, that's right. There's a test in PE class later. After you change, gather on the field. Under the early morning sun at Taipei High School's field, Chuthan was stretching his limbs, thinking to himself, being in the user department is awesome. What could be better than having PE for half the day? Suddenly, a loud shout cut through his thoughts. Hey, Chuthan! Around them, a group of students started whispering, Look over there. It looks like a fight is about to break out. Another person chimed in, his voice full of excitement. Huh? It's those 2 again? Aren't they tired of this? How many times has it been this month? The other person sneered, Ha ha, shut up, be careful or you'll be next. Over by Chuthan, a guy with silver hair aggressively grabbed his collar, his voice full of provocation. Chuthan, you really enjoyed glaring at me earlier, didn't you? Haven't seen you in a few days and you've gotten arrogant. What good is a high score on the written exam? You planning to talk your opponents into submission in the future? For users, power and rank are everything. And when it comes to power, aren't you just a piece of first-rank trash? Chuthan replied calmly, his gaze sharp and cold. So by your logic, you're also just a piece of first-rank trash. Hearing this, the silver-haired guy's face flushed with anger. What? You little punk? I'm gonna smash your face in! He threw a punch aimed straight at Chuthan's head, but before it could land, Chuthan's hand shot out and stopped it, his eyes unwavering. Chuthan growled, his gaze glinting with a cold, sharp light. You said just now that power is everything, so now I can also tear that mouth of yours apart whenever I feel like it. Both of the silver-haired guy's hands were now locked tightly by him, with no way to escape. He panicked, thinking, "What's happening? Why can't I pull away? Besides, this guy was never this tall before." A bully trembled, stammering, No way!" Just as Chu Than was about to make his move, a terrifying pressure suddenly descended. It made them both freeze. Chu Than felt the pressure weighing down on him like a mountain. A resonant voice boomed, "How bold! Who gave you permission to cause trouble during my class?" The newcomer was teacher Dian Jijia, the PE teacher, a 5th stage D rank. He yelled, "Chu Than! You just came back and you're already making trouble for me, huh?" "Sir?" Chu Than calmly gave a harmless smile. "Not at all, sir. We were just having a friendly exchange." Teacher Diane snorted coldly and ordered, "Shh! Let go." Then he turned away, his voice sternly warning, "If this happens again, don't blame me for not going easy on you." Teacher Dian Jijia raised his voice authoritatively. "Everyone assemble. Prepare for the test. All of you listen up. You have 3 months until the graduation exam. But more importantly, after the exam is the regional exchange tournament. If you get good results in this tournament, not only will you bring glory to the school, but you'll also have the chance to enter prestigious academies, ensuring a smooth and accelerated path in the final stages." He paused, his eyes sweeping over the students, then continued. "I have specially prepared an imported Brand A elementary grade supplement tonic. It's only 6,000 yuan and will be enough to help you achieve outstanding results." Hearing this, the students who were training burst into a commotion. Some groaned, 23, 24, I can't take it anymore, while another yelled, "Look at me, 49, 50. Witnessing the lively scene, Chu Than thought to himself, "Is this all there is to a user's test? I thought it would be more special." As he was lost in thought, a clear, worried voice rang out beside him. A girl ran up, breathing heavily, and called out, "Chu Than, are you okay?" "You suddenly took several days off. I was worried something had happened to you." Realizing she was being a bit too nosy, the girl blushed in embarrassment and quickly explained, It's not that I'm trying to pry, it's just we're about to graduate and you suddenly took time off. So I thought it was a little strange. I was just a little curious, that's all." Chushin looked at the girl, forced a smile, and replied, "I'm fine. Thanks for your concern." Liu Diandian, the curious class president, asked, "Speaking of which, didn't you buy the teacher's supplement?" Chushin chuckled, his voice relaxed. "No, I'm broke." He thought to himself, how can everyone afford such an expensive supplement? Am I the only dirt poor Yujia in this whole group? He was about to say more, but a loud call interrupted him. "Liu Diandian, over here!" She quickly turned to Chu Shen. "I've got to go. Good luck." On the field, teacher Dian Jijia held a list, muttering and calculating, then announced in a booming voice, "In the end, 25 people bought 2 bottles of the supplement. 35 successful attempts." Chu Shen observed quietly, thinking, the supplement is so expensive, yet people still buy it. So that's how you get special treatment from the teacher. We're about to graduate, after all. It's understandable that everyone wants better results, but with my current strength, I probably don't need it. After Liu Diandian finished her test, teacher Dian Jijia's voice rang out again, calling the last person. "Chu Shen, get over here!" Teacher Dian Jijia looked at Chu Shen, grumbling to himself, This kid. Didn't buy a single bottle of my supplement, huh? So confident you can pass without relying on my supplement, are you? Fine, fine. I'll just let him fail, deduct some points, and make an example of him." In the testing area, Chu Shen observed the pull-up bar and the pair of gloves used for the test. At first glance, they looked ordinary, but he thought to himself, a test for a Yujia must have something unusual about it. As soon as he gripped the pull-up bar, a strange power suddenly surged into his palms. His body abruptly felt heavy, and the more strength he used, the more the weight increased. Chu Shen frowned. His gaze swept over the sparkling crystal on the gloves. Is it because of this crystal? He wondered. A Yujia's test really isn't simple, but there's a limit to the increased weight. With my current strength, I can adapt to it easily. This is a rare chance to test my own limits. With a surge of determination, Chu Shen channeled all his inner energy. His bracelet flashed, and the weight on the pull-up bar gradually increased, hitting the 100-kilogram mark. Under the bright sun on the school field, the surrounding students witnessed the scene and couldn't help but murmur in awe. Isn't that Chu Shen doing the test? The guy who's so ordinary you'd barely notice him? But now, he's like a whirlwind, continuously performing nearly 100 powerful and decisive movements. Before, just 30 reps would leave him gasping for breath, drenched in sweat, but now he looks no different from a level 2 student in the advanced class. He's so strong, this guy's almost at level 2, isn't he? One student exclaimed, his eyes shining. I've seen the advanced class students take this test, and they're only about this good. Could it be he's actually reached level 2 already? Another voice chimed in, filled with amazement. After a while, Chu Shun stopped. The moment his feet touched the ground, the air exploded with cheers that echoed across the school field. "Whoa, Chu Shun is awesome!" someone shouted. "With a score like this, you're strong enough to get into the advanced class." Thunderous applause mixed with words of admiration. "When did you reach level 2? Quick, tell me your secret. What kind of supplement are you using? Recommend it to me," another student asked excitedly, their voice full of curiosity. But in a corner of the field, Teacher Dian Jijia stood with his brows knitted tightly, a flash of unease in his eyes. This brat, Chu Shen? How did his physical strength suddenly improve so drastically? Could he have used a strengthening potion? No, impossible. The price of a strengthening potion is so high that ordinary people can't even dream of it, let alone waste it on a test like this, or could it be, in just a few short days? He actually leveled up to level 2? That thought sent a chill down the teacher's spine. If the students find out he can level up without my supplement, how am I supposed to sell them anymore? He muttered, his hands clenching into fists. A vicious glint appeared in his eyes. "So you think you're hot stuff just because you reached level 2? Daring to get in the way of my business. I absolutely will not allow it. Let this Dian Jijia teach you a valuable lesson about the real world." In the principal's office, the tense atmosphere was shattered by the sound of an argument over the phone. "What? The exchange tournament is canceling the level 2 competition?" The principal's voice rang out, full of confusion and frustration. "Our school is already looked down upon and our resources are scarce. Do you think finding a student who has reached level 3 is a simple matter?" On the other end of the line, a calm but cold voice replied, "I understand your difficulties, but the government is in dire need of more elite Yuja right now, which is why we've decided to scale back the subsidies. This is only for top-ranked schools." The principal's voice was desperate, almost begging. "If it's a decision from above, we have no choice. But is there really no other way?" "Hello, hello, hello?" The dial tone buzzed, the call abruptly cut, leaving him with a fury that had been utterly dismissed. A trembling hand placed the phone down. A principal, head bowed, burying his face in his hands. His mind was a tangled mess. Maintaining the medicine and equipment for the elite class had already consumed a huge amount of funding, while the school's resources were only enough to maintain a level 2 standard. Even that was a superhuman effort. Now, the 3-month deadline for the exchange competition was hanging over them like a scythe. How could he possibly find a level 3 student in that amount of time? He mumbled, his eyes filled with anxiety. If we pour all our resources into it, we might be able to risk training one student to level 3. But if we do that, we'll have to sacrifice so many students with average performance. That thought settled like a heavy weight upon the school's future. In the principal's office, his eyes, clouded with sorrow, turned towards an object on his desk. He whispered softly, "Senior, what am I supposed to do? Is the academy really destined to fall under my watch?" Just as the words left his lips, a series of urgent knocks echoed, cutting through his thoughts. "Principal Hu, it's me, Tian Jijia. May I come in?" The door swung open. Tian Jijia stepped in, holding a report, his face beaming with confidence. "Principal Hu, here are the results from the latest student assessment. Everyone performed very well. I believe this class will produce some excellent agents in the future." Principal Hu took the list, his eyes skimming over the lines, but a wave of dejection washed over him. "Very well," he says. "Every single one of them is only at level 1. A bunch of kids no different from useless trash, unusable for any significant task." Suddenly, Tian Jijia spoke up, his tone somewhat hesitant. "However, there is one exception. I don't think he's suited to be an agent." Principal Hu's brow furrowed, his gaze turning sharp as ice. "Who?" A quiet resolve began to form within him. Perhaps it was time to make some drastic changes. Tian Jijia answered without hesitation. "It's Chu Shen." A while later, Chu Shen, clutching an old book, walked anxiously towards the principal's office. The book suddenly spoke, its voice filled with worry. "What did you do? Why would the principal call for you?" Chu Shen shrugged, a helpless look on his face. "How should I know? I don't even remember doing anything," he muttered softly, his mind racing. "I heard the principal is really strict. He definitely didn't call me in for a friendly chat. I hope it's not anything bad." Each step felt heavy, carrying a sense of foreboding about the upcoming meeting. Just as Chu Shen raised his hand to push open the principal's door, a spark of fire suddenly flashed, erupting as if to incinerate the space before him. A piece of paper, glowing with fiery light, appeared, hovering mysteriously. Chu Shen was bewildered. "What is this?" he mumbled, his eyes glinting with a mix of curiosity and confusion. The book in his hand vibrated slightly, its voice slow and filled with excitement.
So it's finally appeared.
This is the wish that activates under special circumstances, the one I told you about before. It seems there's something I need nearby. Go find it now. Chushen grimaced, a wave of annoyance rising within him. Seriously? I have to do a mission right at a time like this? He grumbled, his voice full of weariness. The book retorted without a hint of sympathy. The wish has been activated. There's nothing to be done. If you don't want to be burned to a crisp, then just shut up and get it done. Before he could react, an authoritative voice boomed from inside, sharp enough to cut through the air. What are you doing? Just standing out there? Get in! Walking into the room, Chushen didn't hesitate to speak. Principal, you were looking for me? Principal Hu, sitting behind his desk, didn't answer right away. Instead, he slowly looked up, his gaze sharp, as if trying to see right through him. Chushen, correct? Your physical report isn't bad, almost level 2. That's commendable. As for skipping class, talking back to teachers, fighting with classmates, I can understand youthful impulsiveness. He paused, his voice dropping lower, each word weighing down the air. Do you know what the most important thing is for an agent? At this, a cold glint flashed in Principal Hu's eyes, like a sharp blade ready to cut through any excuse. Principal Hu gritted out, his gaze as cold as steel, emphasizing each word. Money. He looked straight at Chushen without a trace of mercy. Therefore, I believe you should give up on becoming an agent. What? Chushen was stunned, his voice cracking in disbelief. Are you saying I'm not suited to be an agent? Are you trying to get me to drop out? Principal Hu nodded, his tone calm but cold. That's right. You need to understand, the cost for an agent to develop later on is immense, given your family's circumstances. Instead of pouring everything you have into something that won't yield a worthy result, it's better to stop now. Cold calculations swirled in his mind. Chushen's physical test results were clearly good enough for the elite class, but the school was now at a life-or-death crossroads. Instead of letting a half-baked student, like him, take up precious resources, he would pour everything into cultivating the truly valuable seeds. If we can just train one student to level 3 before the competition, then the academy might have a chance to survive this crisis, he thought to himself, his eyes glinting with unshakable resolve. He continued, his voice low but forceful. If you agree, we can process your tuition refund for you today. You won't need to come tomorrow. He paused, looking directly at Chushen. So? Chushen stood frozen, his mind a chaotic storm of anxiety. Just then, the book in his hand vibrated violently, its urgent voice shouting, Kid, I found the target! Go get it for me now! Chushen gasped, his voice filled with helplessness. Can't you see I'm kind of busy trying to save my own skin here? Why don't you go get it yourself? The book snapped back irritably. If I could get it myself, I would have already. Its voice lowered, taking on a more serious tone. The contract is very clear. I can only obtain things that belong entirely to you. So, no matter what, you absolutely must find a way to possess it. But a storm was raging inside Chushen now. A sense of unease spread like black ink in water. This is bad, he thought. To pay off my debt, I have to get to the city center. But to get in there, besides reaching D rank, I also need to graduate as an agent. This school is the only academy in the city that trains agents. If I want that diploma and the stone the boss needs, I absolutely cannot get expelled. He took a deep breath, trying to calm himself. It's okay. This isn't a fatal outcome yet. His mind began to spin like a machine. From what he knew, ever since the Hybrid Academy was founded, the most outstanding student had only reached level E2, so for a school like this, students who surpassed level 2 were clearly rare treasures. This means that I, someone who has already reached level E2, can absolutely break through another level. That thought flared up like a flame. It lit the determination within him. Thinking this, Chushen looked at the book, his voice firm. Sir, I heard before that I could receive a reward that would help with my wish. Is that right? If you haven't decided yet, could I choose it myself? The book paused, its voice full of surprise. Huh? It's possible, I suppose. Could it be that you want to... Chushen clenched his fists, his eyes blazing with determination. That's right. The reward I want is to borrow power. Lend me your strength. Hearing Chushen's words, the book's eyes widened, its voice filled with concern. I've told you before, your body absolutely cannot handle any more of my power. You were just lucky you weren't crushed by the power before. You'd be better off thinking of another way. But Chushen had already made up his mind. His eyes burned with unwavering resolve. "Sir, I can't be expelled from here," he affirmed, his voice steely. "If I get expelled now, who knows how long I'll have to wait for another chance to go to the Central City District. Your wish might not get a chance to be fulfilled anymore. Just trust me, sir." The book fell silent for a moment, as if contemplating. Then it clicked its tongue, its voice reluctant. "Whatever happens later, I'm washing my hands of it." Instantly, a flame flashed, as brilliant as fireworks in the dark. A contract materialized, hovering before his eyes, visible only to the two of them. On the paper, glowing words were clearly written. "The grantor bestows upon the grantee the reward of being able to borrow the grantor's power, anytime and anywhere. All consequences shall be borne by the grantee. Do you agree?" Without a moment's hesitation, Chu Chen signed his name, a strong, decisive signature. On the other side, Principal Hu observed Chu Chen. Seeing him stand still for a long time without reacting, he frowned and asked, "What? Is there something else you need?" Chu Chen looked up, his gaze cold but firm. "I hope the principal can test my level one more time before deciding whether to keep me or not." Hearing Chu Chen's request, Principal Hu frowned slightly, thinking to himself, is he trying to cling to his last chance? He nodded, his voice calm but unable to hide his skepticism. "All right, just shake my hand. Level 2, a little higher than the records predicted, but still far from enough." What a pity. Once their two hands touched, Chu Chen clenched his palm, a burning determination rising within him. "There's only one chance. I'm not sure what level I can reach, so I have to try my best to get more power." At that moment, as their fingers intertwined, a terrifying surge of power suddenly erupted. Like a storm, it poured out of his body. Principal Hu was startled, his eyes wide in disbelief at the sensation he had just experienced. Even the book in Chu Chen's hand trembled. Its voice was filled with astonishment. "I can't believe this kid unleashed even more power than what I gave him." After a moment of shock, Principal Hu quickly pulled his hand back. His body instinctively stumbled backward, his face showing clear panic. "How is this possible?" he mumbled, his voice trembling. "His level. Why did it suddenly skyrocket? It must be as high as level 4. Chu Chen spoke calmly, his voice firm. "Principal, how is it?" Mr. Hu suddenly burst out laughing, his face as radiant as if he had just found light in the darkness. "Well, it seems fate always leaves a way out," he shouted, his voice full of excitement. "Student Chu Chen, you will represent our school in the tournament." Principal Hu placed his hand on Chu Chen's shoulder, his voice deep and laced with sincerity. "We need to produce good results to report to the Ministry of Education, which is why we hope you'll join the Level 4 group for the Inter-District Exchange Tournament. Understand?" He paused for a moment, his eyes tinged with a bit of anxiety. "That's right. It's the highest honor group among all the schools. Our school has ranked last for many years. If we still don't achieve a good result, the Ministry of Education will cut funding to the school. That's why we wanted to focus our teacher resources on students with more potential. And that's why we misunderstood you. I hope you're not angry." Chu Chen smiled faintly, his voice calm. "It's all right, Principal, I can understand." And Principal Hu let out a sigh of relief, a smile blooming on his face. "It's good that you're not holding a grudge. To show our sincerity, I will waive your tuition fees," he continued, his voice generous. "If you have any other needs, just say the word. The school will do its best to accommodate them after you transfer to the advanced class. Your weekly allowance of basic energy solution will be increased from 3 bottles to 6. How about that? If you have any other needs, just say so. The school will fully support you." He looked at Chu Chen, his eyes shining with hope. "Chu Chen, an outstanding student like you would be welcomed at any school, but I sincerely hope you can consider representing our school in the exchange tournament." His voice deepened, carrying a hint of seriousness. "No, Flower. When I say that your choice will directly decide the very survival of this school." Hearing these words, Chu Chen quickly weighed his options, offering so many conditions. It seems this matter is truly important to him, he thought to himself. His gaze swept across the room. Suddenly, he pointed towards an old wooden cabinet. "Principal, what if I said I want that black crystal on that cabinet? 6? Principal Hu paused, looking in the direction he pointed. "You mean this black star crystal?" He walked over, his voice low and tinged with nostalgia. "This is a strange star crystal. The former headmaster brought it back from the middle floors, and it was later crafted into a memento. While it has no practical use, it's considered the spiritual inheritance of our school." He paused, his eyes looking weary. "But if the school itself is gone, what's the point of an inheritance? If you can really save this school, then giving it to you is completely justified." Chu Chen nodded, his voice firm. "Don't worry, Headmaster. I'll give the exchange tournament my all." Headmaster Hu smiled, patting his shoulder lightly. Then it settled. But then his tone suddenly changed, a curious glint in his eyes. Ah, that's right. Chushen, this might be a bit forward, but I'm very curious. How did your level jump so much? Chushen smiled slightly, replying calmly, Ah, I'm practicing how to conceal my power. You could say it's a special training method of mine. I'm still in the process of practicing, so I hope you can help me keep this level thing a secret. 6. Headmaster Hu nodded, his eyes showing a look of admiration. No wonder. That makes sense then. Concealing at one's level is a skill that deceivers develop to trick opponents in actual combat. I never expected someone so young to have such a profound mindset. He laughed heartily, his voice full of excitement. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. It brings us old-timers great joy to know we can entrust the future to young people like you. Chushen looked at him, the corner of his mouth twitching slightly as he thought to himself, why does it feel like the headmaster just convinced himself? But a spark of determination ignited in his heart. No matter how difficult the road ahead, it wouldn't make him falter. Suddenly, a girl pushed the door open and walked in, her clear voice ringing out, Headmaster Hu! You were looking for me? Headmaster Hu turned, his eyes bright, and immediately gave an order. Quickly, take Chushen to the advanced class, and for the supplementary potion, do exactly as I instructed. The girl nodded, giving Chushen a friendly smile. All right, Chushen, please follow me. The two left the room and walked down the long corridor. As they walked, the girl started a conversation, her voice gentle. The entire second floor is for the advanced classes. Just follow me to get registered and you'll be all set. Chushen nodded slightly, replying politely, Yes, thank you for your trouble. Then he asked curiously, By the way, what's your relationship with the headmaster? I've never seen him so happy before. The girl giggled, her eyes sparkling mischievously. Ha ha! I guess you could say we just get along well when we talk. As they were talking, a figure rushed towards them from the end of the hall like a gust of wind. Tianjijia appeared, his face grim, his voice full of regret. Chushen, I tried my best to plead with the headmaster for you. Unfortunately, I still couldn't convince him in the end. Although your performance in our class was only average, no matter how poor, a student still has the right to an education. I hope that even after you drop out, you can continue to work hard. He paused, his voice heavy with sadness. Don't bow to reality. The girl beside him frowned, cutting him off immediately. Drop out? What are you talking about? Chushen is transferring to the advanced class tomorrow. I was just about to take him to register. She glanced at Tianjijia, her voice sharp. And you? Mr. Tianjijia, the headmaster said he needed to see you about something. He seemed very angry. Hearing this, Tianjijia was stunned, his face turning pale as if doused with cold water. A sense of foreboding rose within him. I'm screwed, he thought to himself, his heart sinking to the pit of his stomach. Back in his room, Chushen collapsed onto his bed, completely exhausted, sighing non-stop. 3 months to get from level 2 to level 4, how is that even possible? He muttered, his voice full of helplessness. Even a genius from a rich family would need so much time and money to go up one level, a poor guy like me. And how can I jump 2 levels in 3 months? He turned to the book, his eyes pleading. Boss, is there any way for me to level up all at once? The book vibrated slightly, its tone tinged with disdain, as if something like that exists. If you want my help, you'll have to wait until you've fulfilled my wish. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for choosing this reward. I guess I have no choice. Chushen sighed, scratching his head in frustration. At the time, it was the only thing I could think of. The book retorted, its tone a bit testy. Don't say I didn't warn you. You can't use my power for long. You'll be completely exposed. He smirked, replying with a carefree attitude. I know. I'm not stupid enough to actually rely on borrowed power for the tournament. Anyway, I didn't get expelled, and I even get free solutions. At least it's better than where I started. He lay on his back, staring at the ceiling. His voice deepened. Leveling up can wait. What's important right now is this. Paying back the debt in 5 days. Thinking of this, a determined glint appeared in Chushen's eyes. He sat up abruptly, clenching his right fist. First, I need to figure out how to make some money. The next morning, Chushen arrived at the advanced class, his brows furrowing slightly as he muttered, Huh? What's this? Why does this place look like an abandoned factory? Suddenly, a cheerful voice called out, Chushen, right? Over here! Over here! A man waved his hand continuously as he approached, explaining, You weren't here during roll call, so I figured you might have gotten lost. Since I'm in charge of the whole class, I sometimes can't keep up with everything. If there's anything I've overlooked, I hope you'll understand. Haha. Oh, right. I'm the homeroom teacher for the advanced class. You can just call me Mr. Zhang. Chushen nodded slightly, feeling a sense of relief. He thought to himself, I thought the advanced class teacher would be super strict, but he's actually this approachable. Then he spoke politely. You're too modest, Mr. Zhang. But when you say you're responsible for the whole class, does that mean there are no other teachers in the advanced class? Mr. Zhang smiled warmly and explained, That's right. There are 3 teachers for the academic subjects, but I'm the only one in charge of all the training sessions. Teacher Truong's voice lowered, tinged with a bit of worry. It's because in recent years, the number of students in the school has been dwindling, and those with enough skill to enter the elite class are even rarer. That's why the school hasn't hired any new teachers. Normally, our class studies and trains in the innermost area. The outer sections have been abandoned for a long time without any repairs, which is why they look the way they do now. Chushen thought to himself, the school's situation is really terrible. No wonder the principal was so anxious. Teacher Truong patted him on the back, his voice warm. But don't you worry. A skinny camel is still bigger than a horse. I believe this place won't disappoint you. As the door opened, a magnificent scene greeted Chushen's eyes. Teacher Truong announced, Welcome, Chushen, to the elite class. Then the teacher added, Right now, the class is in a free training session. I'll take you to meet everyone first. Chushen glanced around, marveling to himself. So this is the elite class. The environment here is completely different, just like a high-end gym compared to the rundown training ground below. Glancing at the students, he thought, everyone looks so energetic. But there's something strange about the atmosphere. Teacher Truong lightly tapped Chushen on the shoulder and called out in a clear voice, All right, everyone, gather around. I'd like to introduce a new student. He gestured towards Chushen. This is Chushen. Although he's joining us a bit late, the elite class has always been judged on skill alone. The fact that Chushen is here is undoubtedly due to his own outstanding strengths. I hope that from now on, you'll all get along and work hard together to achieve great results in the upcoming tournament. Chushen stepped forward, bowed his head slightly, and said, I look forward to working with you all. From the crowd, a red-haired young man stepped forward aggressively, his voice dripping with sarcasm. Strengths, you say? I'm not so sure about that. He smirked provocatively. If you got in by pulling strings, you should just obediently admit it. Why pretend to talk about strengths? Aren't you afraid of lowering the standards of the elite class? Teacher Truong's face darkened as he shouted, Ma Wenhao, watch your mouth! Chushen's transfer into the elite class followed all the proper procedures. I expect you not to spread baseless rumors. Ma Wenhao just smirked, completely unfazed. Whether it's a rumor or not, we'll find out after one match. I want to issue an official duel to Chushen. He stared directly at Chushen, his voice challenging. Do you dare accept? The surrounding crowd immediately erupted into excited chatter. An official duel? It's been a long time since I've heard those words. I heard an official duel is completely different from a normal match. Both sides have to wager their honor and go all out. The loser has to be at the winner's beck and call without a single word of complaint. But that Ma Wenhao guy is the strongest among us. Does he really need to bully a new kid like this? In the distance, 2 students who were training also stopped. A male student asked curiously, What's all the commotion over there? The girl next to him exclaimed in surprise, I think the new transfer student is about to fight Ma Wenhao. The male student frowned. A transfer student? At that moment, back with Chushen's group, Teacher Truong reminded him in a serious tone, An official duel is not valid if the other party doesn't accept. Chushen calmly replied in a steady voice, All right. His eyes lit up, unwavering as he continued, As long as it's a friendly match that isn't life-threatening, I accept the duel. In his mind, he calculated, This is a good chance to see how my skills stack up against everyone else's. Consider it preparation for the upcoming tournament. In the principal's office, a call came through. A rushed voice said, What? You're saying Chushen is fighting another student? The teacher on the other end of the line began to recount. To be precise, Ma Wenhao issued an official duel to Chushen, and Chushen accepted. Right now, neither of them is backing down, and the other students are all gathered around, cheering loudly. It's impossible to calm the situation. From the crowd, a student shouted, Ma Wenhao, teach that new kid some manners. Hearing about this commotion, Principal Hu mused thoughtfully. Isn't Chushen training his level concealing skill? Could it be that he wants to test the results of his training? He immediately gave an order. Prepare the arena. I'll allow this duel to take place. After some preparation, both sides were ready to enter the tense, challenging match. Teacher Truong turned to Chushen and spoke clearly. Since this is your first time participating in this type of match, Chushen, I'll briefly explain the rules. He slowly began to explain. The rules for an official duel are similar to the tournament. The arena is only for the 2 combatants in a friendly match. Students on the outside are absolutely forbidden from interfering. Anyone who violates this will be expelled immediately. Both sides must fight at the same level for the match to be valid. Challenging someone of a higher level is not allowed. Ma Wenhao glanced at the notification device and couldn't help but frown, thinking, he's a rank E2? Teacher Truong continued, this match is a friendly duel. You are absolutely forbidden from attacking any vital points on the body. No fatal blows and no holding grudges after the match. Getting hit in the face or actively surrendering will be considered a loss. Is that all clear? Then let's begin. The moment the command was given, Ma Wenhao, without a shred of hesitation, lunged forward with lightning speed, launching a surprise attack to decide the match. But just as his hand was about to touch the throat, Chu Shen, the protagonist, casually leaned back to dodge, calmly saying, as expected, you rushed in right from the start. Seeing Chu Shen's quick reflexes, a frustrated and resentful Ma Wenhao unleashed a relentless barrage of punches. But no matter how hard he attacked, Chu Shen still skillfully dodged, his movements as smooth as flowing water. Ma Wenhao growled in frustration. Damn it, he's like a rat, darting back and forth. I have to find a way to pin him down. A cold smile touched his lips. You like dodging, don't you? Then he suddenly threw a powerful kick, its force like a thunderbolt. The kick, carrying the hook wind kick martial skill, came so fast that Chu Shen couldn't dodge in time and had to raise his hands to block the ferocious attack. Ma Wenhao thought to himself, his voice full of confidence. My hook wind kick can turn the tables in an instant. Even if you block it, the impact will still knock you to the ground. Once you're on the floor, let's see how you dodge then. But at that very moment, Chu Shen's eyes were chillingly calm. As he fell, he used the force from the ground, skillfully planting his hands. He gathered his strength, then sprang back up, launching a lightning-fast counter-kick aimed straight at Ma Wenhao's neck. The guy's eyes widened in utter shock. How is this possible? He knows martial skills, too? After taking the hit, Ma Wenhao tried to compose himself, thinking, as long as I wasn't hit in the face, I haven't lost. He still believed he had a chance, but when he turned around, in front of him was Chu Shen's fist, lightly touching his face. The protagonist spoke calmly. Getting hit in the face area means the face, right? So I guess that means I win. Ma Wenhao was dazed, his eyes filled with disbelief, his face as pale as a ghost. Teacher Zhang immediately raised his hand and declared clearly, Chu Shen wins! Ma Wenhao collapsed onto the arena floor, his face a mask of confusion. He stammered, I lost. A student below yelled with wide eyes, Are you kidding me? Ma Wenhao lost that easily? The crowd buzzed with discussion. I didn't even see what just happened. This newcomer is crazy strong. Chu Shen stood firm in the arena, his eyes narrowing slightly as he murmured to himself. The match ended faster than I thought, but it helped me get a sense of my own strength. He asked his opponent in a calm voice, So you don't have any more objections, do you? Teacher Zhang, who had witnessed the match, couldn't hide his astonishment. He thought, Ma Wenhao has had professional training, yet he was completely overwhelmed. Chu Shen has never learned any techniques. But his physical condition and his ability to react are exceptionally brilliant. What a rare talent. No wonder the principal told me to pay special attention to him. But from a distance, a hearty laugh rang out, a deep voice echoing across the stands. Well done! Chu Shen tilted his head slightly, a questioning look in his eyes. The principal? Principal Hu waved his hand and called out, Chu Shen, come over here for a moment. I have something to talk to you about. But at the same time, two students, a boy and a girl standing nearby, were whispering. The blonde guy's eyes lit up with excitement. Hey, did you guys see that? This transfer student is seriously strong. A guy like that, we have to recruit him as one of our followers. The pink-haired girl beside him pouted and shook her head. There you go again. 3. Principal Hu led Chu Shen down a long corridor, asking in a friendly tone as they walked, Are you getting used to the advanced class? Chu Shen replied, his eyes cold and devoid of emotion. It's fine. It's just that the classmates are a bit too enthusiastic. 1. Principal Hu let out a hearty laugh. Ha ha! Well, people with great power are always more popular. You'll get used to it. From now on, just focus on your training. If you need anything, just say so. The school will help if it can. Chu Shen nodded slightly, thinking to himself, The principal seems to trust me a lot now. Maybe this is my chance to ask about making money. Chu Shen looked up and asked bluntly, Principal, do you think there's any way for a student to make money quickly? Principal Hu was surprised for a moment, then frowned slightly, his voice deepening. Money? At your age, you shouldn't worry too much about that. You should focus your energy on training. In the future, you'll naturally have opportunities to earn a lot of money, won't you? If your family is having financial difficulties, the school can provide an advance. Chushan quickly waved his hands, trying to maintain a calm expression. Ah, no, it's all right. I was just asking for fun. But inwardly, he was disappointed, thinking, I guess I'll have to find another way. 4. Holding his training equipment, Chushan quietly considered his options. Students who take on debt are dealt with harshly by the school. I have to be careful not to get caught. Is there anywhere else I can learn about making money? Suddenly, a guy approached him, his voice booming with excitement. He then familiarly put an arm around Chushan's shoulder, flashing a bright smile. That match just now was spectacular. It even made the principal himself come talk to you. Just who in the world are you? Chushan tilted his head, his eyes wary. Who are you? Just then, a girl walked up, chiding, Shenjiarui, you're being so rude. Then she turned to Chushan with a gentle smile. Sorry about that. This guy's been like this since we were kids. But he doesn't mean any harm. My name is Su Xiaoxia, and this is Shenjiarui. Based on enrollment order, I guess I'm your senior. If there's anything you don't understand, feel free to ask me, okay? Chushan bowed his head slightly, his voice a little awkward. Thanks. Shenjiarui cleared his throat a few times, then announced cheerfully, Well then, from now on, we're a 3-person team. As the team captain, I'll take good care of you. Hearing this, Chuthan just thought to himself, What a weirdo. Shen Jiaxue glanced over and curiously continued to ask Chuthan, You transferred up from a lower class, right? Where did you learn that combat skill you just used? The young man answered blankly, What's a combat skill? Shen Jiaxue's eyes widened in surprise. Wait, you don't know what a combat skill is? Then what was that move you used to take down Ma Wenhao? Chuthan replied nonchalantly, It was just an instinctive move. Shen Jiaxue burst out laughing with delight. Oh my god! That move was way too savage. Ma Wenhao would probably die of anger if he found out. Ever since that guy learned a combat skill, he's been going around showing off. Su Xiaoxia smiled and chimed in to explain, Let me clarify a bit. Combat skills are powerful techniques that a user can master through scrolls or memory stones. Depending on the level of proficiency, the power and effectiveness of the technique will vary. There are many types of combat skills, and strong individuals even know how to combine them to fit their own fighting style. The move that Ma Wenhao used to knock you down in the match was the D-rank combat skill, hooking defense kick. Chuthan nodded and mumbled, No wonder I couldn't block that kick. If I had a combat skill too, maybe my chances of winning the exchange tournament would be higher. He looked up and asked, Are combat skills really that rare? Shen Jiaxue answered immediately, Pretty much. Combat skills are ranked by level. The stronger they are, the rarer they are. The school teaches the simple ones, but if you want a powerful one, you usually have to buy it or have it passed down from some master. He added excitedly, Right now, the market price for a normal D-rank combat skill is about 500,000 N. Hearing such a large sum, Chuthan fell silent, thinking to himself, That's enough to cover my loan payments for several months. But Shen Jiaxue was still fired up, his voice full of excitement. By the way, I have a combat skill too. Let's spar sometime, then I'll show you. Su Xiaoxia chimed in with a bright smile. I have one too. Witnessing this, Chuthan sighed inwardly. Something worth 500,000 N and they'd just have one like it's nothing? I heard the tuition for the advanced class is sky high. They must all be rich kids. Wait, if they're well off, maybe I can ask them about making money. So, Chuthan spoke up, his voice cautious. If I want to buy a combat skill but I'm short on cash, is there any way to make a lot of money quickly in a short amount of time? No holds barred. Hearing this, Shen Jiaxue narrowed his eyes and asked, Anything goes? Are you planning to rob a bank? Chuthan quickly replied, his voice trailing off. Anything except robbing a bank. Shen Jiaxue smirked and lowered his voice to a whisper. No holds barred, and you need a lot of money fast. Then the only place left is the Blackwater district in the Land of Miracles, right? Su Xiaoxia immediately yelled at Shen Jiaxue, Don't lead him astray. If the teachers hear you say that, they'll definitely drag you away for a good lecture. Chuthan repeated curiously. The Blackwater district? Shen Jiaxue waved his hand and laughed it off. I was just kidding. Even though they say anything can happen there, the school forbids students from going near it. Once you're discovered, you get expelled immediately. No negotiations. Just pretend you never heard it. How much more money do you need for that combat skill? Chuthan coughed lightly and replied, About 300,000 N more. Hearing that, both of them exclaimed in shock, 300,000, that's so much. Su Xiaoxia sighed helplessly. I'm out of money too. Then the two of them quietly left. Chuthan stood alone, deep in thought. The Blackwater district, huh? I'll risk it. I'll go check it out after school. At the Blackwater district, Chuthan stopped, his eyes glued to the map on his phone. So, the Blackwater district is right here, not far from my house.
It's just a few minutes by bus. I've already changed out of my uniform, so I probably won't be easily recognized, right?
Then he looked up and asked into the empty air, "Boss, what do you think it'll be like inside?" 01 replied. Chuthan was slightly surprised and mumbled, "So this guy isn't here, huh?" Then he told himself, "Whatever. In the outermost area, the user levels shouldn't be high. With my borrowed strength level 4, I should be able to escape if I run into trouble." His eyes scanned the surroundings. Chuthan noticed a scene of desolation and decay, as if this area had been abandoned for a very long time. "Is this really the so-called land of miracles?" he mumbled, walking cautiously. Ahead, clear signs of foot traffic led to a crude door. Chuthan smirked to himself. A secret tunnel? Interesting. Just as he pushed the door open and stepped inside, shadowy figures silently followed behind him, their eyes flashing with a cold, murderous intent. Chuthan advanced further in, his own eyes shining brightly in the darkness. The scene gradually revealed itself to be an underground city. He exclaimed in amazement, "So this is the land of miracles! Blackwater." Scanning the filthy street, he saw illegal transactions taking place openly. Chuthan thought to himself, "No wonder no one ever mentions this place. It's a completely lawless zone. As long as there's a profit to be made, anything goes. Maybe I really can find a way to make money before my loan payment is due." Suddenly, he squeezed his eyes shut with a determined expression, then spun around and said in a cold voice, "How long are you people planning on following me?" A hoarse laugh echoed from the shadows. "Ha ha, not bad intuition. Kid, we were just planning to find a chance to knock you out and drag you away. But since you found me out, I might as well give you a bit of a beating." Jushin frowned, his voice laced with doubt. "Knock me out? Why?" The three guys burst into a guttural laugh. "Still playing dumb, are we?
You think I don't know what's going on?
I've seen plenty of your type before. You're definitely some rich kid in disguise here for a thrill. If we kidnap you, we can demand a hefty sum in gold." Hearing this, Jushin sighed to himself in exasperation. What kind of brilliant deduction is that? Seeing no reaction from him, the leader stepped forward and slapped him hard across the face, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "Scared speechless, are you? That's good. I'm a deceiver. You're not getting away from me. Cooperate nicely while we demand the ransom, and I might let you live." Jushin couldn't take it anymore. He said in a cold voice, "How rude." The robber's eyes widened. "What did you just say?" But before he could finish, Jushin's left fist shot out, smashing right into the man's head. The sudden, powerful blow caught the other guy completely off guard. He fell flat on his face. The two henchmen behind him jumped in alarm, shouting in a panic, "What the hell?" The boss got ambushed when his guard was down. Let's teach him a lesson. Without hesitating, both of them pulled out daggers and charged. But just then, two wooden crates came flying out of nowhere with pinpoint accuracy. They slammed right into the two robbers' heads, sending them staggering. While Jushin was still in shock, a dark figure flashed past him. Someone grabbed his hand tightly and yanked him forward. A firm female voice said, "Come with me!" But before he could even process what was happening, Jushin was dragged off into the shadows. When they reached a hidden corner, the girl stopped, breathing a sigh of relief. "We should be safe here." Jushin, catching his breath, said, "Thanks for saving me." He thought to himself, "I was planning to ask those two a few questions. I guess that's out the window now." The girl suddenly spoke up. "You're Jushin, right? What are you doing here?" Seeing the surprised expression on his face, she quickly bit her lip, cursing herself internally. "Oh no, I blew it. I forgot I'm supposed to be hiding my identity." Jushin asked blankly, "Huh? You know me?" The girl, startled for a moment, quickly replied, "No, it's not that. I saw your name, right there on your collar." The protagonist quickly checked the name tag pinned to his collar and breathed a sigh of relief. He hadn't realized his name was written there. He thought to himself, good thing she didn't actually recognize me. Thanks for the heads up. Meanwhile, the girl was also relieved, thinking to herself, that was close. I almost forgot I have to hide my identity. Luckily, I was able to cover my tracks. Then she turned to Jushin, her tone serious. You shouldn't carelessly reveal your information in the Blackwater district like that. It's very dangerous. I'll escort you out. Jushin quickly waved his hands in refusal. No, that's not necessary. I have some urgent things to handle. I should get going. All he could think was, if she finds out I'm a student, I'm done for. It's best to get out of here fast. Watching Jushin's retreating figure, the girl mused, even after all these years, that's definitely Jushin. I wasn't mistaken. Does he really not remember me, or is he just pretending? But isn't he a student? So why would he be mixed up in a place like this? What's more, from our encounter just now, I got the feeling he's become a deceiver. At a stall, Jushin bought a mask for 10 yuan and put it on, thinking, this should be safer. But he sighed. He had been wandering around for so long and still hadn't found any leads on how to make some money. Suddenly, a middle-aged man approached him with a friendly tone. Young man, judging by your appearance, you're probably not a local. Am I right? Jushin asked warily. Who are you? The man gave a hearty laugh. Just consider me your local guide. I know this place inside and out. If there's anything you need to know, I'm your man. Jushin's eyes lit up. Oh, in that case, can you tell me if there's anywhere around here to make some quick cash? Hearing this, a wide grin spread across the man's face. This way, please. He was inwardly celebrating, thinking about the hefty referral fee he was about to earn. Under a pedestrian staircase, the brutal sound of fists hitting flesh echoed loudly. An underground fighting ring came into view, where deceivers and regular humans were locked in fierce combat. All around, the stands erupted with wild, enthusiastic cheers. Observing from above, Jushin frowned and asked the man, Is this some kind of underground fight club? The man nodded. That's right. If you want to make money fast, you've come to the right place. Tonight, there's a special match. A newcomer who wins doesn't just get the prize money, they also get a cut of the bets. A lot of the fighters are deceivers who've come especially for this event. The fights are intense, and the bettors here play for high stakes. Now's the perfect time to get in on it. Gazing at the chaotic scene, Jushin considered his options. That guy in the ring looks intimidating, but he's actually just a level 1. This could be a real opportunity. Seeing him hesitate, the man pressed, So, how about it? If you want to bet, I can take you to get some chips right now. Jushin shook his head decisively. I'm not interested in chips. I want to win the prize money myself. Hearing that, the man's expression instantly changed, a look of horror flashing across his face. At the same moment, the girl from earlier appeared silently nearby. She was filled with suspicion. This is weird. I'm sure I saw Jushin come in here. Suddenly, a massive roar erupted from the crowd. Whoa, how is that kid so strong? Oh no, my money! Her eyes darted to the fighting ring. She thought in shock, What's he doing here? In the ring, a fierce-looking guy roared, Don't get cocky just because you won 2 matches. I'm the top contender in this tournament. Remember the name Joff, the man who's going to win this championship. As soon as the words left his mouth, Jushin charged forward without hesitation, unleashing a thunderous punch. All talk, but can you take a hit? The crowd buzzed with excited chatter. Another one-punch knockout. This is getting boring, Jushin thought. Quick and clean. The next opponent stepped up, opened his mouth, about to use the same old line. Remember me, I'm... Before he could finish, a punch from Jushin sent him flying. The next guy stammered in a panic. Wait, I surrender... But before he could get the words out, Jushin knocked him out instantly. Meanwhile, in the control room, a manager watched the screen. Gritting his teeth in anger, he muttered, I only let that scrawny kid join because he looked weak. How did it turn out like this? An underling rushed in, panicked. Boss, all the fighters we were about to sign have run off. The audience also suspects we're fixing the matches and they're demanding refunds. The manager growled. If this keeps up, the arena will go bankrupt. He ordered. One more match. Release that thing to fight him. Back in the ring, Jushin had just knocked down another opponent. But the announcer didn't declare the result. Instead, he boomed, This fighter is truly unstoppable. But I bet you all haven't had your fill of the action yet, have you? So we've decided to give you all what you want and hold one more truly thrilling match. Jushin frowned, puzzled. According to our agreement, the prize money should be mine now, shouldn't it? The announcer ignored him, continuing to hype up the crowd. Jushin thought grimly, It seems these guys never intended to hand over the prize money easily. Suddenly, an iron cage was wheeled onto the stage. The announcer's voice boomed with excitement. Let's give a huge welcome to our mystery fighter, the trump card of this match. Jushin's eyes widened. As the smoke and dust cleared, a massive, monster-like silhouette was revealed, its entire body bound tightly in chains. The announcer screamed, This is the neuron-type humanoid weapon. When the smoke completely dissipated, a terrifying, grotesque monster appeared. As its chains were released, it collapsed onto the floor. Jushin was stunned. What is this? Suddenly, from the back of the monster's neck, a strange white smoke sprayed out. A strange object shot out along with it. Then the creature slowly got to its feet, revealing a mouthful of sharp teeth and letting out a deafening roar. The audience trembled and murmured nervously. This thing is so creepy. Another guy puffed out his chest, pretending to be brave. What's there to be afraid of?
I'm here to protect you, babe. I could kill this thing with one punch.
But inwardly, he was cursing. Holy crap! Thank God we're sitting in the back. Any closer and I would have pissed my pants. But from a distance, the girl watched, her brow furrowed. She thought, why would one of these things appear here? At Chu Shen's level, there's no way he can handle this. She had the power to save him, but doing so would expose her identity and ruin her plans. She bit her lip, her eyes filled with hesitation. Back in the ring, Chu Shen was furious. Damn these cheating bastards! Of all the times for the boss to be gone, this thing is completely different from the others. It's definitely not human. The monster's blazing red eyes locked onto him like a hunter, and staring at its prey. Its terrifying aura sent shivers down his spine. Chu Shen's intuition screamed that this was an extremely dangerous creature. Suddenly, the monster's middle finger began to glow with a strange light. In the blink of an eye, it lunged, its razor-sharp claws swiping past Chu Shen's neck. He leaned back to dodge, but a few drops of blood still fell. His heart pounded. So fast! If I hadn't instinctively dodged that, it would have taken my head off. This thing is really trying to kill me. I can't hold back. The two of them charged at each other, locking in a grapple. The wind whistled as its claws swept by. Unable to withstand the immense power, Chu Shen was knocked back. Its strength is insane. This thing is too dangerous. I have to end this quickly. With that thought, Chu Shen drew upon the contract he'd made with the evil god, silently focusing on two words: borrow power. The moment he did, power exploded from his body, skyrocketing from level E2 to E4. Surging with newfound strength, he gathered his energy into a punch that sent the monster reeling. Clasping his hands together, Chu Shen lunged, striking down like an arrow. The monster had no time to react and collapsed to the floor. It seemed too easy. Chu Shen thought, is it over already? But suddenly, the creature sprang back up, its sharp claws slashing violently at his arm. Chu Shen staggered back a few steps in complete shock. My strongest attack had no effect on it at all. This monster has a thick hide and its claws are like knives. Close combat is a clear disadvantage for me. I need a weapon, Chu Shen muttered. The monster seemed tireless. Its glowing middle finger shot forward like a stabbing blade. Chu Shen deftly dodged it, thinking, now I have my weapon. He landed a precise punch, breaking the monster's finger. He quickly snatched it, spun around, and slashed hard at the back of its neck. The monster roared in pain. Ichor sprayed from its neck. Chu Shen smirked. Too shallow, but at least I managed to wound it. He realized its true strength. It's no match for mine after borrowing power. If I can just get in close one more time, I can finish it. After taking the hit, the monster suddenly spewed out a strange gas. Chu Shen was startled for a moment, thinking, poisonous smoke? No, it's just ordinary fog, but it's completely obscuring my vision. His eyes widened as his intuition screamed danger. He swung the sharp finger he'd acquired, blocking a surprise attack. But despite his quick reflexes, he still couldn't see where his opponent was hiding. As he raised a hand to wave away the mist, Chu Shen was suddenly slashed across his back. He fell back, sweat dripping down his temples, his vision blurred in the thick fog. This thing is using the fog to wear me down. It's afraid to attack head-on, worried about leaving an opening. He gritted his teeth, realizing, even if I can withstand these attacks, once my borrowed power runs out, I'm finished. I can't drag this on, I have to end it now. Chu Shen took a deep breath, telling himself, calm down, don't be afraid. He focused all his senses, his eyes wide as he watched intently. Suddenly, the monster's figure flickered back and forth within the mist. It was faint, like a phantom. Without hesitation, Chu Shen thrust the blade forward, piercing through the fog. A stunned mutant had no time to react as Chu Shen's hand closed around its body. With a powerful yank, the monster's arm was torn from its body. A shriek of pain echoed. Chu Than smirked, knowing his chance had come. Seizing the opportunity, Chu Than gathered his strength, preparing to finish the monster off. But suddenly, his heart seized violently. Pain shot through his entire body. He thought to himself, my heart. It hurts so much. Have I reached my limit? Have I? In front of him, the monster still hadn't given up. Its sharp claws lunged forward, aiming to stab him. Chu Than gritted his teeth, telling himself, I can't lose. The monster opened its mouth wide. A long, blade-like tongue snaked out. Chu Than couldn't dodge in time and was stabbed in the hip. Blood poured out. Furious, he roared, it's not over yet! With a silent chant, he muttered, borrowed strength. Power surged through him. Chu Than grabbed the tongue, pinning his body, and twisted it hard, pulling the staggering monster towards him. He clamped his hands around the monster's mouth, his eyes burning. Without stopping, Chuthan roared, "Go to hell!" Gathering power in both hands, he unleashed the finishing blow. The monster's body was torn to shreds, splattering blood across the entire arena floor. It was a horrific scene. Inside the observation room, the owner of the betting room grew anxious as he couldn't see any movement. He hurriedly turned to his subordinate and asked, "What's the situation?" The bodyguard replied in confusion, "Why can't I see anything at all?" "Boss, the smoke is clearing," he reported breathlessly. The betting room owner frantically pressed, "What is it?" "So, is that kid dead yet?" However, as soon as he saw the scene outside clearly, the color drained from his face, and he froze on the spot. The fight was over. The mysterious girl was both overjoyed and couldn't believe her eyes. She quietly wondered, how is this possible? The roar from the crowd in the stands exploded into non-stop cheers. Some were ecstatic, while others were bitter about their losses. Thankfully, I switched my bet to this kid just in time. Unbelievable! How could he possibly win so many matches in a row? The mysterious girl stared intently at Chuthan's back on the arena floor, murmuring with emotion, "And yet, he actually did it." At that moment, Nevron was completely obliterated, lying in a bloody pulp on the ground. Chuthan stood there, his whole body radiating a cold aura. His eyes, burning with killing intent, swept over the surrounding guards. Caught in that sharp gaze, they all trembled. "Boss!" In the observation room, the two bodyguards looked at their boss in shock. The old man couldn't accept this cruel reality. He collapsed into his chair, his face a mask of terror mixed with anger. He let out a choked sob, complaining resentfully, How is this possible? That kid, he actually won? That was something I spent a fortune to buy from the Central District. That bastard." Outside, just then, the announcement system blared, "Let's all congratulate this contestant on becoming the champion of this tournament. Will the contestant please follow our staff to collect your prize?" Hearing the announcement, Chuthan narrowed his eyes doubtfully, thinking to himself, is it finally over? In the backstage area, a suitcase filled with stacks of large bills was opened. The bodyguard presented it and confirmed, "This is your prize money. The total is 510,000. Chuthan maintained a formal and polite demeanor, replying, "No problem." However, just as he reached out to take the suitcase, a rough hand suddenly shot out and slammed the lid shut. The owner of the betting room stood up, his treacherous nature on full display. "Hold on, I've changed my mind. Become my contracted fighter and compete according to my arrangements. And you can take this whole 510,000, or you can take just 110,000 and get the hell out of here right now." Chuthan's eyes narrowed, radiating a cold pressure as he shot back, "What is the meaning of this?" The betting room owner, completely shameless, twisted the truth. "All of my contracted fighters have run off. You also killed my key fighter. That was something I spent a great deal of money to acquire. You have breached the contract and must compensate me for my losses." Hearing those absurd words, Chuthan questioned him coldly. "You didn't say anything about an extra match before. If I'm not mistaken, this is what you told me before I stepped into the arena. Entering the ring without giving your name is the same as signing a death certificate. In the arena, whether you kill your opponent or are killed by them, no one is held accountable. Whether you kill your opponent or not, it is entirely up to the contestant's wishes. Isn't that right?" His sharp reasoning left the old man speechless. He could only roar in frustration. Chuthan was now seething with killing intent. His voice carried a clear threat. "Therefore, the 510,000, not a single penny less." Unable to win with reason, the betting room owner flew into a rage, pulling out a gun and pointing it straight at his face. He screamed, "Who the hell do you think you are? What kind of trash are you to be making demands of me? You think you can just walk out of here alive?" Without a hint of fear, Chuthan reached out and grabbed the old man's gun hand. With a squeeze, he crushed the pistol to pieces right before the old man's eyes, challenging him. "I want to leave." "You think you can stop me?" The old man's hand was crushed and deformed. He screamed in agony, frantically ordering his henchmen, "Kill him! Kill him!" All the bodyguards drew their guns and aimed them at him. Chuthan let out a cold, indifferent sigh. Immediately after, the sound of sharp gunshots mixed with horrific screams. The sounds echoed all the way outside. The people lingering in the stands panicked. "Gunshots!" The mysterious girl remained standing there, her heart filled with worry. "It's coming from Chuthan's location." Suddenly, from a high floor, a bodyguard was sent flying down to the ground. The crowd quickly gathered around, whispering and murmuring, "What's going on here? Are they filming a movie? That's insane, falling from so high." The mysterious girl narrowed her eyes in suspicion. Could it be? Upstairs, Chuthan threw a punch with the force of 1,000 pounds straight into a bodyguard's face. then grabbed the suitcase of money and bolted. Another one fired at him in pursuit, but was immediately met with a lightning-fast counter. He knocked the man down, sending him through a curtain, then climbed onto the railing without a second glance. As he prepared to jump, the betting room owner stood above, screaming frantically, "He's on the lower level! Get after him! Send men to block the alley and all the exits!" Chuthan ran, gasping for breath. The exhaustion was overwhelming. My heart hurt so much. I've pushed myself too hard. To make matters worse, the wounds on his body were becoming more severe. If he kept this up, his body would give out. Suddenly, a hand reached out and yanked his shirt, pulling him inside. In the small, dark alley, the mysterious girl quickly covered his mouth. Outside, the frantic footsteps and shouts of the guards echoed nearby. "Hello, he's not over here! Check this way!" He definitely went out the back. "You guys search over here." They waited until the noise outside fell completely silent, sure that their pursuers had left. The girl finally let go and said softly, "It's safe now." Chuthang, still bewildered, started to ask, "What just—" But before he could finish, she quickly stopped him. "Save your strength. I know a secret passage that can help you get away safely. Just go straight through here and you'll be outside. Hurry and leave before they completely surround the area." Following the girl's instructions, Chuthan started to walk away. Before disappearing from sight, he glanced back, about to say something, but she interrupted him. "Go, hurry!" Finally, he took off his mask, revealing his face, and replied curtly, "Thank you." The mysterious girl silently watched his back fade into the distance. Only then did she activate her earpiece to make contact. "Hello, it's me?" A voice immediately came through the other end. "Lin En? Why are you in the Blackwater district?" She didn't answer directly, instead being evasive. "Sister Shi, let's not get into that right now. I have something I need to tell Grandpa. I've discovered a few strange things here." A loud crashing sound came from the window. Chuthan tumbled into the empty room from outside, his suitcase thrown to the side. He collapsed, clutching his chest in agony. "My heart hurts so much. I can't take it anymore," Chuthan stammered out, his face drained of all color. "Damn it." His breathing faded, then stopped altogether. His consciousness gave way as he collapsed to the floor. "Mom." In his delirium, fragments of memory surfaced. A woman sat on a bed, smiling gently. "Mom, you once told me your illness might get better in 2 or 3 years. I'm sorry, sweetheart. I lied to you. The truth is, it's not that I'll be better in 2 or 3 years. It's that I only have 2 or 3 years left to live at most." I really want to see you again. To see you get married, have children, to watch you slowly grow old, and to caress your face. I'm sorry. I don't have the strength to walk with you anymore. I love you so, so much." Chuthan snapped awake, his eyes wet with tears. He was panting heavily, drenched in sweat. He instinctively looked around the room, then slowly sat up, wondering to himself, "Is this Chuthan's house? I'm still alive. That dream must be what woke me up. A lot of time has clearly passed." Suddenly, a voice rang out, startling him. "So, you're awake." It only took a few seconds for him to compose himself and recognize the familiar person. "Boss, where have you been these past few days?" The Golden Hand frowned and began to question him. "I have plenty of things to do in other places. As for you, I just got back and found you passed out here for 2 whole days. You're in terrible shape. I thought you weren't going to make it. Care to explain?" "You mean, while I wasn't around, you snuck off to some place where you could get into a fight? And because you used too much force to take down a monster, it almost backfired on you?" "You idiot, I've told you before. Don't use my power carelessly. And you did it while I wasn't even here. What would you have done if you died?" Chuthan maintained an indifferent expression, calmly refuting the claim. "It wasn't careless. I had no other choice. You don't need to be so angry, boss, no." But the Golden Hand continued to ramble on, reminding him. "Did you think that I could save you even if you died? What were you thinking? Reviving you before took most of my strength. If you die again, I won't be able to save you. Having experienced life and death, you of all people should cherish this opportunity more." Upon hearing this, Chuthan lowered his head, his expression showing a hint of resentment. He hadn't expected his boss to say such things. But the boss is right. An opportunity this precious is hard to come by. I have to cherish it more. The old man praised him, then quickly changed the subject. "It's good that you know. Based on what you said, this creature that was both like and unlike a person, with sharp claws and the ability to breathe smoke. It doesn't sound like something that exists in this world." Chuthan propped his hands behind him, leaning back comfortably. "Who knows?" he replied. "In any case, from now on, I don't want to go to any more of those damn places." He let out a sigh, thinking to himself, "And then there was that girl I met in the Blackwater district. Whatever. I don't want to overthink it. I'll just focus on upgrading for now."
Wait. Suddenly, he remembered something crucial. That's right, the prize money. The suitcase was opened, revealing it was filled to the brim with stacks of cash. Chuthan hugged the suitcase, moved to tears. This is amazing! Thank goodness the money's still here. The golden hand appeared, looking disdainful. Is this why you went to the arena? He answered excitedly, Boss, you don't understand. With this 500,000, I won't have to worry about my debt until at least the end of the exchange tournament. This way, I can focus completely on leveling up. Before I go back to school, I need to get this wound on my stomach taken care of. The minor scratches have healed on their own, but the one on my stomach still needs treatment at a hospital, and I still have to think about training. And then I have to stop by the bank to deposit the money. He suddenly felt like he had a lot on his plate. Yeah, a short while later, at the towering Tianlan hospital, the doctor lifted his shirt to examine the wound, then said, It's nothing serious. Even though it was a piercing wound, it's healing quite well. Just be sure to keep it clean and try not to injure it again. To recover this quickly is not something a normal person can do. You're an inducer, aren't you? Yeah. Chuthan hesitated for a moment. Ah, yes, that's right. The doctor smiled and pointed to an advertisement. Inducers get injured easily, don't they? As it happens, the hospital is running a promotion right now. If you sign up for a card, you can enjoy a lot of discounts in the future. Yeah? He refused flatly. No, thank you. Just the regular medicine will be fine. The doctor chuckled, turning around to give instructions. All right, then. I'll prescribe you a vial of specialized anti-inflammatory medicine. Just remember to use it on schedule. Chuthan held his head, thinking helplessly. That's a relief. It's a good thing that monster's tongue wasn't poisonous. But just as he started to relax, his eyes began to feel a little itchy. What's going on? A moment later, the doctor handed him a box of medicine and said, Here you are. You can pay on your way out. Chuthan stared in confusion at the medicine box, which was emitting a strange light. There was a light on his hand. He curiously asked again, Doctor, excuse me, what is this light coming from the medicine vial? The doctor answered nonchalantly. Light? I don't see any light. This is just a specialized anti-inflammatory medicine for inducers, that's all. He held the glowing medicine vial. Chuthan thought to himself, But I can see it very clearly. This isn't just my eyes playing tricks on me. Could it be that I'm the only one who can see this? The doctor held up another advertisement, leaning in close. Perhaps you're hallucinating from all the pressure? It's common for inducers to be under a lot of stress. As it happens, I have a psychological counseling session for inducers. If you sign up for a card now, you'll even get a discount. Chuthan glanced around and was stunned to realize that every vial of medicine on the shelves was glowing. Even the people around him were radiating a similar light. He began to walk, deep in thought. I can see these lights everywhere. I even have it on my own body. Is it because I'm an inducer? The difference between a normal person and an inducer is whether or not they have enhancement energy. Could this be the light radiating from enhancement energy? If that's true, then this is a huge deal. The key to leveling up is the rate at which I absorb enhancement energy. If I can perceive it, leveling up will become much easier. Suddenly, he was startled. A young man surrounded by a blue aura. Dao whizzed past him. Chuthan glanced after him in awe. This guy's enhancement energy is on another level. Yes. At that same moment, the young man also turned his head back. He looked puzzled. Did someone just observe me? But there aren't supposed to be any powerhouses around here. A voice came through his earpiece. What's the status? Have you reached the hospital yet? Don't forget our mission is to find the anomaly. Try not to get too sidetracked. He replied nonchalantly as he walked. Relax. I rarely get to go on assignment, so I don't want to waste it. I plan on staying in this country for a while. It'll be a good chance to find our little princess and catch up a bit. The person on the other end chuckled softly, their voice coming through the comms device. Good. According to the boss's prophecy, the anomaly is a crucial turning point that will change history. Before we confirm whether they are friend or foe, it's best to make contact first and take appropriate measures. Taking off his glasses, Amya shrugged. To be honest, I think the boss is overthinking this. If the anomaly really turns out to be an enemy, I'll destroy it myself. This was Amya, an A-rank inducer. The brilliant morning sun shone down on the campus of Lidak High School. Du Ho-Vi sat with his legs crossed, his expression serious as he tapped his fingers on the desk. You've only been in the elite class for a few days. You don't answer my calls, you don't reply to my texts, and you don't show up for class. Would you care to explain yourself? Chuthan quietly sighed, thinking to himself, I just got back and I'm already busted. The headmaster gets his info fast. He scratched his head, trying to come up with an excuse. I'm sorry, sir, we had a family emergency and I wasn't able to notify the school. I'm truly sorry. I will willingly accept any punishment you see fit.
The man's expression grew stern. He waved a hand dismissively. That's not what I meant. I'm asking if you ran into any sort of unexpected trouble. Chuthen blinked, looking puzzled. No, nothing like that, sir. I was worried you'd regret agreeing to the exhibition match. Yes. At that moment, Hu Wei looked at him with an appraising gaze and said slowly, No. When it comes to the exhibition match, I have faith in you. I'm more worried that you're hiding some kind of trouble in your heart that you're afraid to talk about. You are an excellent caster. Even if you hadn't agreed to the match before, the school would have done everything possible to help you. The very purpose of this academy is to nurture outstanding casters. That will never change. I hope you can understand that. Feeling the principal's dedication, Chu Cheng smiled and nodded firmly. Don't worry, Principal. I'm fine. I will definitely give it my all to bring glory to our school in the exhibition match. Hu Wei smiled, satisfied. He suddenly changed the subject. If there's nothing else, you should head back to class. Your friend was so worried about you, they even came to my office to ask about you. Just then he blinked, confused, and tilted his head, asking, A friend? Not long after, back in the noisy classroom, as soon as he walked in, a voice called out, Chu Cheng, you're finally back! We haven't heard from you in days. Where on earth have you been? Xiaoxia, next to him, also chimed in breathlessly. Even the teachers didn't know where you were. You scared me to death. He gave a strained, flustered laugh and made an excuse. Sorry. My family had some urgent business to attend to. Suddenly, Jia Shi clapped his hands as if remembering something. Oh, right. That combat skill you were talking about. Xiaoxia and I managed to pool together 300,000 N. Just take it and use it for now. You can pay us back slowly later when you have the money. Chu Cheng was stunned, a warm feeling spreading through his chest. I was just talking nonsense back then. I can't believe they took it so seriously. He raised his hand, pushed the card back, and refused with a smile. I realized later that the combat skill wasn't worth that much money. I'm not planning to buy it anymore. But thanks, you guys. Holding the card, Jia Rui's eyes widened with regret. Well, that's a real shame. Don't worry, you'll find a better one. Just then, a voice called his name. Chu Cheng? I heard. It seems like you're short on cash. I've saved up 50,000 yuan. I hope it's not too little. About what happened before, losing in the competition. If there's anything I can do for you, just say the word. Chu Cheng broke out in a cold sweat, frantically waving his hands to explain, No, you don't need to work like a slave for me. That's not necessary. Xiaoxia put her hands on her hips, glaring as she yelled, Ma Wenhao, what are you doing meddling in our team's business and making such a fuss? Are you plotting something? He waved his hands awkwardly, defending himself. That's not it. I just wanted to say something to Chu Cheng. Before I thought you only got into the advanced class through connections just to make your record look good. But then, Teacher Zhang told me about your situation. I lost, fair and square. You're the one who made me realize the gap between us, so I want to be your friend. That night, Xiaoxia leaned in close to his ear and whispered, What he's saying isn't wrong. You really are the first person to ever beat him. Do you want to let him join? Chu Cheng smiled helplessly, scratching his head. I don't have any objections. At that, Xiaoxia jutted her chin out in a gesture. All right then, if you agree to be our fourth member, I guess we can accept you. Wenhao nodded cheerfully. I don't care about ranks, or any of that. Jia Shi clapped his hands loudly and shouted with joy. All right, to celebrate a new member joining the team. Little Ma, go get me a glass of water. His face fell and he snorted in annoyance. If anyone's getting water, it should be for Chu Cheng. You're the one who lost to me before. Jia suddenly jumped up. What? You're rebelling the second you joined the team? Looking at the noisy scene in front of him, Chu Cheng smiled softly to himself. They're all such good friends. I'm lucky to still be alive. Otherwise, I never would have met them. At a gym, Chu Cheng thought to himself as he strode on the treadmill, the way casters level up is very simple. You just need your body to absorb essence. The more essence you absorb, the higher your level becomes. It's just like an experience bar in a game. High-intensity exercise can increase the body's absorption rate, which is why most caster students take PE classes. But the absorption rate problem is harder than I thought. I've tried wearing equipment that can increase training intensity, but my body's absorption rate is still very low. If the essence in the body isn't absorbed in time, it will gradually dissipate, which is such a waste. No wonder some people remain stuck at level 1 their whole lives. But at this rate, I definitely won't be able to reach level 4 before the competition. I have to find a way to increase my body's absorption rate. Suddenly, Jia Rui walked in with a cheerful expression and made a suggestion. Training alone is a bit boring. Hey, Chu Cheng, let's spar, to change things up a bit. He stopped running and asked, confused, Spar. An idea immediately sparked in Chu Cheng's mind. That's right. Back then, it was because I had to fight my heart out against that monster that I accidentally forced myself to learn how to observe essence. Could it be? Thinking of this, Chu Cheng nodded and suggested, "About sparring. I have an idea, and I'd like to ask for everyone's help." At another training ground under the bright fluorescent lights, Xiaoxia swung her arm, throwing a punch full of momentum as she shouted, "Rising Dragon Fist!" On the other side, Jiarui also clenched his fist and roared, "Chain Combo Fist!" The two of them rushed in to attack. Standing in the middle of their encirclement, Chu Cheng nimbly dodged their blows, then spoke up. "Everyone's coordination is getting much better. We're almost done here. We've been at it for almost an hour. Let's take a little break. You've all worked hard." He leaned over with his hands on his knees, panting heavily as he complained, "I'm dead tired." Xiaoxia, wincing, wiped the sweat from her face and said, "When you said you wanted to fight 1-on-2 earlier, I thought you were kidding. I didn't expect you to be serious. At first, I couldn't even touch the hem of your shirt." Jiaxi forced a laugh and chimed in, "But this method is amazing. You don't have to worry about winning or losing. You can just focus completely on the fight. I was even able to pull off many moves just now that I'd never dared to try before." After sparring with the two of them, Chu Cheng turned to look to one side. "Wenhao, you're next." He was cracking his knuckles, warming up, and said excitedly, "I can barely wait any longer." Looking at his friends drenched in sweat, he thought to himself, "Looks like I wasn't wrong. In all-out battles like this, everyone's absorption rate is much higher. They have a great foundation, so as long as their absorption rate increases, they should level up quickly. Now that the absorption rate is high, maybe I can try that method. To make them safe for ordinary people to drink, normal essence supplements are usually heavily diluted. If someone with a normal physique has a low essence absorption efficiency, then even drinking thousands of supplement vials won't be enough to level up once. However, from my observations, the essence borrowed through channeling power is 100 times more concentrated than those vials. At my current strength, if I directly absorb this amount of energy, it would definitely cause my body to explode and kill me. But if I can just control the flow of borrowed energy to a level I can absorb, I can turn that borrowed essence into permanent energy. It's worth a try for a quick level up. Borrow power!" Suddenly, a terrifying surge of power swelled up within Chu Cheng. He tried to control his breathing, horrified. "I had no idea. The amount of essence I can borrow is insane." Then again, it makes sense. After all, this is enough energy to let me level up 2 times in a row. Okay, slowly. Control the energy flow. Try to compress it to the smallest amount. Success! Now absorb. Flash! A brilliant orb of energy appeared in front of Chu Cheng's chest. He gritted his teeth, sweat pouring down his face. "I can't believe it. I only took a tiny amount and it's this powerful. And yet, in the blink of an eye, it's already filled my entire body. Damn it! I tried my best to control the flow, but I still absorbed too much. If this keeps up, my body is going to explode. I have no choice but to release it." A blinding flash of light exploded outwards, dazzling everyone. His 3 friends stumbled back in shock, shouting in disbelief, An earthquake? It's Chu Cheng. How did his essence suddenly get so powerful?" The golden hand suddenly appeared from the void, crying out in alarm, "What's going on? I sense a strange energy." You absorbed my essence?" Chu Cheng held out his own hand, his eyes shining brightly as he replied, "I tried controlling the amount of essence you gave me to a level I could absorb. Luckily, it actually worked." Its pupils contracted in utter shock. It muttered, "He absorbed my essence and didn't die? Could he truly be my fated one?" Chu Cheng blinked innocently at the golden hand. "What did you just say, boss?" It was startled and quickly covered up. "Nothing. It's good that you're still alive." Just then, Teacher Zhang rushed in from the doorway in a panic. "What was that?" "What happened in here? Is everyone okay?" Xiaoxia quickly explained. "We're fine. It was Chu Cheng." He quickly waved his hands, denying it. Jiaxi hurriedly jumped in to continue. "We had just finished sparring when suddenly Chu Cheng became like this." The teacher looked around in alarm, thinking, "Such a powerful essence overflow. Could that noise just now have been?" Teacher Zhang stammered, "Wenhao, you kids, bring the scanner over here." "Level 3, am I seeing this right? This is the first person to reach level 3 in all these years at our school. I have to report this to the principal." Xiaoxia turned to him, so excited he was practically bouncing. "How on earth did you level up? Hurry and teach me." Chu Cheng scratched his nose and answered vaguely, "It was just from training like we were doing. You guys will all level up soon, too." Inwardly, he smiled wryly. "I can't believe I caused such a huge scene. Next time, I should probably try this at home." Ba Jiashu stood there stunned for a long moment before muttering, "No wonder. After we finished sparring, I felt so energized." Xiaoxia's eyes lit up like stars. So if we just spar a lot, we can level up like you? Hearing this, Wenhao immediately grabbed Jiaxu by the shoulders, urging, "Don't rest. Let's go train. It's my turn." The whole training hall was suddenly filled with bickering. "Let me be on defense." "No way. I should go first." Chu Cheng stretched, feeling refreshed. He glanced over at the golden hand and teased, "You know, I just realized you didn't yell at me this time, boss." It let out a laugh that echoed in his mind. "I'm used to it. If it's just to level up quickly, I won't say anything anymore. After all, I need you to get stronger." Chu Cheng put his hands behind his head and smirked, stating confidently, "Don't worry, I still have a lot of the essence I just stored up left to use. Next, once my body slowly absorbs it, I can even level up again to level 4. Hearing this, Gold Hand suddenly went silent, saying no more. On this beautiful morning, May 12th, 2026, with 55 days left until the friendly match, Chu Cheng was still diligently running, training without rest. On May 17th, 2026, he and his teammates constantly engaged in sparring matches to gain experience. Every punch thrown, every drop of sweat that fell, marked each step of their remarkable progress. And then, that fateful day arrived. September 1st, 2026, with 0 days left until the friendly match. At the competition venue that day, someone exclaimed in shock, "It's so crowded!" Xiaoxia looked around. The stands were packed with people, and she cried out, unable to hide her excitement, "I can't believe I'm really standing on this stage. If my mom knew, she would definitely be moved to tears." Behind her, Jiarui was just as eager, rubbing his hands together. "I heard that this time. The number of students participating is way more than before." Ba Wenhao, walking closely beside Chu Cheng, nudged him with his elbow and asked quietly, "Chu Cheng, are you ready for the level 4 match?" The intensity of level 4 is a world of difference compared to level 3. It's a shame. If we had a little more time, maybe we could have fought together. Chu Cheng turned, smiled, and patted his shoulder, reassuring him, "Don't worry. Didn't the principal say just participating is enough? Whether I win or not can be decided later. If it gets dangerous, I can just forfeit the match." Wenhao clicked his tongue and turned away with a scowl. "The rest areas for level 3 and level 4 are separate. We have to part ways here." Ba Jiarui confidently thumped his chest, promising, "If we finish early, we'll come cheer for you." Xiaoxia clenched both her fists, full of fighting spirit, and encouraged him, "Go for it!" Seeing them so united, he smiled, nodded, and replied, "I'll be cheering for you all too." Then Chu Cheng stopped and quietly watched their departing figures. "It's finally time." He took a deep breath and mumbled to himself, "Well then, I should get ready too." In another part of this venue, on the VIP stands, Hu Wei had his hands in his pockets, looked around, and remarked, "This is my first time in the VIP area." Teacher Zhang, standing beside him, nodded and added, "Well, our school only ever participated in the level 2 tournament before, so of course we never got this kind of treatment." Suddenly, from behind, Wang Mingyuan approached, spreading his arms and booming cheerfully, "Old Hu!" He turned around in surprise and called out, "Old Wang!" The newcomer patted Hu Wei's shoulder. It was the principal of Yunxiang Academy, Wang Mingyuan. He spoke up in praise, "Congratulations. I didn't expect you guys could actually train a level 3 and a level 4 student in such a short time." He gave a modest, polite laugh while shaking the other's hand. "Not at all. It was all the students' effort. I just did my best to meet their needs. It's a good thing you, Old Wang, informed me in time about the change in the competition format." A moment later, Mingyuan clasped his hands behind his back, looking down at the bustling arena and assessing the situation. This time, after reforming the competition format, the central authority plans to increase the subsidies for the winning schools. To receive this subsidy, the competition between the schools will surely be incredibly fierce. Hu Wei nodded in agreement. "That's right." Just then, a jarring, sarcastic voice cut in from behind. "So that's what all the noise is about. It's because a few country bumpkins are here for the first time, huh?" Hu Wei furrowed his brow in annoyance and snapped back. "What did you say?" Mingyuan hurriedly pulled his sleeve to stop him. "Old Hu, calm down. They are all principals from schools that have won previous tournaments. It's best not to start a conflict with them." Hearing that, he glared and snorted coldly. "They used to win, that's all. The match hasn't even started. Who wins and who loses is still up in the air." The man across from them smirked mockingly, tilting his chin up. As expected, the more a dog thinks it's got bite, the louder it barks. Enjoy your last time here. If you don't memorize this view, you won't get another chance. He was the principal of Shiguang Academy, Li Qua, the reigning champion from the last tournament. Hu Wei swung his arm in frustration and plopped down onto his seat. Seeing this, Teacher Zhang leaned in and whispered with concern, "Principal, this is our school's first time participating in such a high-level tournament. Will the kids be all right? His expression suddenly turned serious as he turned and asked in return, Xiaozhang, what do you think of our students? He stammered, stroking his chin, flustered. I think they are all very good, especially Chu Cheng. His talent is in no way inferior to the geniuses at the top academies, who rely on enhancers all day. Hu Wei's face eased slightly as he nodded. Then that's right. The only thing we need to do is believe in them. At the same time, in the cheering section for Laite Academy, Dian was clutching a cheer sign to her chest. She couldn't hide her nervousness. This is my first time in such a big place. It's so nerve-wracking. I wonder if Chu Cheng will be okay. When I first heard Chu Cheng was going to compete, I couldn't even believe it. But then, a memory flooded back, reminding her of what happened a week ago. She was walking down the hallway holding a stack of books, thinking sadly, it's been a long time since I've seen Chu Cheng, ever since he was moved to the advanced class. I wonder how he's doing now. But now, he's the school's big star, even representing us in the Level 4 tournament. He definitely wouldn't bother talking to someone like me from the regular class. But while she was lost in her thoughts, Dian carelessly tripped on the stairs. She lost her balance and tumbled forward when suddenly a pair of steady arms reached out and caught her. Chu Then smiled warmly and asked the class president, Are you okay? Dian's face flushed red as she stammered in embarrassment. Chu Then, thank you for helping me, but why are you here? He gently patted her head and smiled warmly, replying, I was just passing by and saw you, so I thought I'd come say hello. A moment later, after calming down, Dian looked down shyly and confessed, I thought, after you got into the advanced class, you wouldn't want to be friends with me anymore. Hearing this, Chu Then turned to look at her, confused. What are you talking about? Friends are friends. Why would that change just because our statuses are a little different? Remembering this, Dian's heart warmed. He really was the same old Chu Then, not a bit arrogant or changed. He can definitely do it. Suddenly, a loud announcement from the speakers shattered her thoughts. Will the contestants from all schools please come to the stage? The crowd around them immediately erupted in a buzz of excited chatter. Look, it's Chu Then. It's really him. Watching the young man's figure confidently step out into the brightly lit arena below, Dian whispered softly, He's on. The charismatic voice of a male MC echoed through the stadium. Distinguished guests, dear teachers and fellow students, welcome to the venue for this year's Outer Zone Inter-District Exchange Tournament. This competition will be hosted by myself and my partner, Lily. As soon as they heard the name, everyone in the stands gasped in amazement before erupting into wild cheers. Lillian? The most popular idol right now? She's really here to host the competition? She's so cute, even without her idol costume. Facing the crowd's wild enthusiasm, Lily raised a finger to her lips in a shush gesture. With a sweet smile, she gently reminded them, Today, I'm not idle Lily, I'm hard-working Lily. The contestants are the real stars today. As the cheers subsided, she continued in her clear voice, Next, allow me to explain the rules of the competition. A total of 12 academies are participating in this competition. Each academy has sent 4 representatives. The Level 4 group has 16 contestants, and the Level 3 group has 32 contestants. However, this arena is only for the Level 4 contestants. If you wish to watch the Level 3 group, please follow the signs to the other competition hall. The giant LED screen overhead began displaying scoreboards and tournament brackets as she continued her clear explanation. The results from both the Level 3 and Level 4 groups will be converted into final points. The rankings will be determined by these scores. The general rule for this competition is that each match will feature 2 contestants. The winner will advance to the next round, where they will face off against other winners. This will continue until we have a final champion. Also, to ensure contestants can fight with all their might, matches will be limited to half an hour, unlike the unlimited time in previous years. A match ends when one side is unable to fight or voluntarily surrenders. She blinked playfully, throwing her arms up enthusiastically. I hope everyone can show us their true abilities. And while the rules are stricter this time, there's no need to worry. Everyone, look over here. The crowd immediately followed her gesture, and a collective gasp of astonishment went through them. Whoa, is that really Grandmaster Bai Yue? I've only ever seen him on TV. I can't believe I'm seeing him in person. The man who had appeared was none other than Bai Yue, the S-Rank exorcist. Suddenly, he made a gentle gesture into the air. Instantly, the ground beneath them began to shake violently. On the arena floor, the contestants were all startled by the sudden earthquake. At the same time, the male MC's excited voice rang out. That's the Grandmaster for you, shaking the heavens and the earth with a single move. As you can all see, this is a special arena that the Grandmaster has prepared just for this competition. The arena is equipped with a shield that the Grandmaster created himself, so the audience doesn't need to worry about being affected by any shockwaves. If the arena gets damaged during a match, the Grandmaster will repair it instantly. So, all contestants can rest assured and fight with everything they've got. Finally, you must carry the orb in front of you at all times during the competition. It not only confirms your identity, but can also protect you in moments of life or death. After hearing the explanation, the contestants looked at each other, whispering excitedly. He changed the whole landscape with just a wave of his hand. So this is the power of an S-Rank? You really have to see it for yourself to understand how incredible it is. Even Chu Than silently acknowledged this formidable power. They always say S-Rank power is godlike. I just didn't realize it was this incredible. But this guy, he doesn't seem bothered in the slightest. It almost makes my own tension melt away. Up on the command platform, Lillian eagerly announced, "The result of each match will be announced directly on your orbs. So everyone listen up. The All-Zone Exorcist Exchange Tournament officially begins. The first match of the round of 16. Shingan Academy's Yu Wanglu versus Lanji Academy's Yu Xiaoran." The male MC commentated rapidly, his eyes glued to the action. The match was incredibly fierce from the get-go. Contestant Xiaoran unleashed a spectacular ultimate move like a heavy cannon to end the fight in a mere 17 minutes. Now let's begin the second match. In a luxurious VIP room, Hu Wei sipped his tea and watched the match, nodding slightly. Quite a surprise. I never expected the organizers to get an S-Rank Grandmaster to help out this year. Looks like this year's competition is really intense. Wang Mingyuan, standing nearby with his hands clasped behind his back, began to explain, "The gap between Level 4 and Level 3 is already huge, partly because a Level 4 can fully utilize the effectiveness of combat skills. Not to mention, these major academies are very wealthy, so it's no problem for them to splurge on C-rank combat skills. They rely on their abundant funding to freely provide their students with the best combat skills in medicine. That's how they've been able to secure the top spot so many times. No wonder they look so calm and composed." As soon as he finished speaking, two other men approached Principal Li, fawning over him. "We're counting on your guidance again this year. Please ask your school to go easy on us." Ignoring their sweet talk, Wang Mingyuan stroked his chin, looking amused. But things will be different this time. At the same time, the male MC's voice rang out again. The fifth match. Contestant Lan Shen of Yunhu Domain, facing contestant Li Zhe of Xi'an Domain. This is another dramatic showdown. Contestant Lan Shen is using her graceful, ghost-like movement technique to evade the fierce attacks of her opponent. It's as if she's toying with him, having him right in the palm of her hand. But you can't injure your opponent just by dodging. What method will contestant Lan Shen use to secure the victory? On the stage, Lan Shen stared coldly at her opponent and declared in a low voice, "The warm-up is about over." Immediately, ethereal purple streams of light shot out, binding Li Zhe's limbs. The male MC exclaimed in awe, "Is that a special ability-type combat skill?" Lan Shen is the first contestant in the history of the B-class, E-rank exams to wield a special ability-type skill. Meanwhile, Li Zhe gritted his teeth, struggling with all his might, but in the end he was completely bound and helpless. He cursed under his breath in frustration, "Damn it, I can't break free." Seeing this, the MC commented, "Judging by contestant Li Zhe's reaction, this ability is truly a massive threat." Just as he finished speaking, Lan Shen lunged forward like a bolt of lightning. She coldly tossed out a phrase, "Please step aside." Instantly, the MC announced loudly, "Using a combat skill to bind the opponent before finishing them off, Lan Shen's battle strategy is truly versatile." The match only took a mere 5 minutes. The crowd in the stands started buzzing. Is that magic? Controlling the opponent and then attacking at will. That's practically unbeatable." The MC immediately shouted into the microphone, "The audience's reaction is electric. The race for this year's championship." Are we about to witness a spectacular upset? But in the VIP room, Hu Wei was dumbfounded. "I can't believe it's a special ability type. This is an extremely rare ability that only domain users of D rank or higher have a chance of awakening." Seeing his stunned reaction, Wang Mingyuan smirked smugly. "That's right. This child is a rare case of early awakening. You could say she's 1 in 10,000. Hearing this, Wu Yu, who was standing nearby, frowned in annoyance. "It's just an early potential awakening, isn't it? What's the big deal?" "Oh, really?" Hearing that, Wang Mingyuan retorted sarcastically, "If you think so little of it, then why did you, Principal Wu, spend a fortune trying to poach our Lan Shen? Lan Shen already told me all about you. She even complained that you were incredibly persistent." Having been exposed, Wu Yu lost his composure and snapped, "What are you talking about?" Suddenly, Li Gua interrupted in a scornful tone, "That's enough! It's merely an early awakening." After that, the MC began to announce the next match. The sixth match is Wang Zhuo of Shiguang Domain versus... Whoa, what was that? It only took 5 seconds. A one-hit knockout. The opponent had just charged forward to attack and was taken down by contestant Wang Zhuo in the blink of an eye. This is the terrifying power of the Academy. Shiguang Domain's the reigning champion for 3 consecutive seasons. Seeing this, the audience in the stadium erupted into a frenzy. A knockout in the blink of an eye, he's just too strong. Only someone from Shiguang Domain could pull that off. Looks like the championship trophy is going to Shiguang Domain again this year. On the stage, Wang Zhuo arrogantly dusted off his hands and concluded, "Looks like there's no suspense left in this year's competition." How boring. In the VIP room, Yu clenched his fists and shouted excitedly, "As expected of a student personally trained by Principal Li, his strength is on a completely different level." After hearing this, Li Guo stroked his beard smugly. I believe I've said it before. The dogs that think they're so tough always bark the loudest, don't they? Wang Minyuan frowned and shot back harshly. Just you wait and see. Meanwhile, Hu Wei could only watch in silence. He thought to himself, there's absolutely no way for us to interfere in this battle. After all, for our Lady Domain with our current abilities, just securing a spot to participate is already a great achievement. If Chu Cheng can just win one match, or even just have a standout performance, it'll be a huge gain for us. Down below, the MC continued to announce loudly, "The winner of the 7th match is the contestant from Shimin Domain. The match lasted 20 minutes. Everyone please take a short break. Coming up next is the final duel of the first stage." Hearing this, Chu Cheng, who was in the waiting area below, stood up. He stretched his arms and legs to warm up, thinking to himself, I can't believe I'm in the last match. I wonder what my opponent will be like. The golden hand in his mind frowned, confused. Whoever it is, why don't you just borrow their power and finish this match already? He turned his head slightly, looked into the empty space, and explained, because in previous years, the strongest students at this stage only reached level 4. If I borrow power to get to level 5 right now, it'll draw way too much attention. If I get investigated and my identity is revealed, it'll be a huge mess. Lan Tam stepped forward from out of nowhere and suddenly spoke up. Tough luck! You're in the final match! Zhu Sheng stared at her blankly, confused. Huh? A few seconds later, Lan Tam crossed her arms and helpfully reminded him, You're up next. Your opponent is Lei Che from Zhongshan Yu. That guy is one of the biggest contenders for this year's championship. The combat skill that made him famous is the explosive Thunderclap Rush. If he uses his full power, even a beginner D-rank Yu user wouldn't be able to take it. After hearing this, Zhu Cheng scratched his chin curiously. Bringing a combat skill that powerful into a low-level match, won't that cause any problems? Lan Tam replied slowly, her voice laced with sarcasm. The gem you get before the match can block one fatal blow. But your body will definitely have to endure some indescribable pain. Oh well, fighting for the Academy's funding has always been this brutal. Hearing this, he politely bowed his head to thank her. Thank you for the warning, but why are you helping me? She shrugged and answered casually, Our principal and your principal are friends. So I guess you could say I'm temporarily your ally. Besides, we have a common goal, which is to snatch the #1 spot from those arrogant higher-ups. Right? Initially, I was hoping you could play your part as an ally and at least help deal with a few obstacles for me. But since your opponent is Lei Che, well, I guess that's that. Just try to wear him down as much as you can. Good luck in there. Watching Lan Tam's back as she walked away, Zhu Cheng scratched his head, bewildered. Is that Lei Che guy really that overpowered? A few minutes later, he slowly stepped onto the brightly lit arena floor. At the same time, the male MC excitedly yelled into his microphone, At last, the final match of the first stage is about to begin. I'm sure you've all been dying to see this, haven't you? The moment he finished speaking, the crowd in the stands erupted in thunderous applause and roaring cheers. Whoa! It's finally starting! The finals, this is so exciting. I can't believe he's in the very last match. The suspense is killing me. The MC's voice suddenly rose dramatically. Let's give a huge welcome to the contender in our final match! Seeing such a wild atmosphere, Zhu Cheng quietly muttered to himself, Wow, I didn't expect to get such a warm welcome. But in the next second, the MC bellowed a different name. Contender, Lei Che! It was only then that Zhu Cheng awkwardly realized, Oh, so all that cheering wasn't for me. Suddenly, a powerful shockwave erupted from behind him, shaking the entire stage. Seeing this, the audience leaped to their feet, cheering wildly as Lei Che appeared in a cloud of dust, striking the coolest landing pose imaginable. Feeling that overwhelming aura, Zhu Cheng turned his head and gave a cold stare. The MC's voice continued to boom from the speakers. Who would have thought our final battle features contender Lei Che from Zhongshan? You!
word is that contender Lei Che became a U user at the age of 52, and in just 4 short years, he has already achieved level 4, and that's not even mentioning the fact that he's also won, countless honors like national certifications and special invitations from the guild. It's no exaggeration to call him a once-in-a-generation genius. Not in the slightest. The crowd started chanting their idol's name non-stop. Lei Che, Lei Che, Lei Che, Lei Che, Lei Che. Seeing this from the stands, Liu Diandian clasped her hands together, worried. He even has a massive fan club, while there's nobody here cheering for Zhu Cheng. A female audience member sitting above them heard Diandian muttering and scoffed. Well, isn't that obvious? Our Lei Chi is handsome and powerful. It would be weirder if he didn't have fans. On the other hand, that raggedy opponent of his. You can just tell he's a bad person. Plus, he looks so arrogant. Who could possibly like a guy like that? Hearing that, Liu Diandian shot to her feet in anger and yelled, "Who says Zhu Cheng has no fans? I'm his biggest fan right here. Zhu Cheng is both gentle and strong. Meanwhile, that Lei Che guy is just arrogant and flashy. You can tell just from that he's the one with the terrible personality." At that, the other girl got furious, pointing and yelling, "What? How dare you speak ill of our beloved Lei Che?" Not backing down, Liu Diandian shot back, "You were the one who judged Zhu Cheng on his looks first." The two girls glared daggers at each other as if they were sworn enemies. Then, they both started screaming at the top of their lungs, fiercely cheering for their own idols. "Go, Lei Che! Go, Zhu Cheng! Go, Lei Che! Go, Zhu Cheng!" 2 male students sitting nearby saw this happen. They quickly scooted away, whispering to each other in shock. This is the first time I've ever seen the class president look so cool. What's going on? Who knows? And meanwhile, down in the arena, the male MC was still shouting excitedly, "The cheers just don't stop. Everyone is eager to see what kind of performance this genius boy will deliver." What kind of incredible top-tier performance in this match? Can he possibly dethrone Thuok Kwangdu, the one who has comfortably sat at the top of the rankings for so many years? All right, amidst these passionate cheers, let's officially begin the battle. Suddenly, Lai Lian leaned in close and whispered a reminder. "Senior Tian, have you perhaps forgotten that there's still one contestant who hasn't been introduced?" The MC jumped and slapped his forehead. I got too caught up in the audience's excitement and completely forgot. My apologies, everyone. Next up, I would like to formally introduce the person standing opposite contestant Loi Triet. It's contestant Chu Thang from Lai Dak Du. His previous achievements are non-existent. His signature move, none. Historical achievements for Lai Dak Du, oh. It seems this is a school participating for the very first time. Chu Thun stood listening to the introduction, his face turning pale. He wiped his face and sighed, thinking to himself, maybe I should have just bitten the bullet and bought some random combat technique to put on my profile. In the stands, the crowd started whispering amongst themselves again. So it's a school that's new to all this. No wonder I've never heard of them. This kind of third-rate school probably blew their entire budget just to get one person to level 4. No wonder he doesn't even have a single combat skill to his name. Then what's the point of this fight? He's just a punching bag for target practice. What a waste. This was supposed to be an amazing final match. I really thought we'd get to see Loi Triet's ultimate technique. The girl who was arguing with Dian earlier heard this, puffed out her chest, and sneered. "Oh, so you guys are from some bottom-feeder school here for the first time, huh?" In the VIP room, Mr. Vu slapped his thigh and roared with laughter. "Ha ha ha! I can't believe you ran into our school's Loi Triet on your very first outing. Looks like you'll be packing your bags and going home empty-handed. I almost feel embarrassed for you." Hearing those taunts, Ho Vi instinctively rubbed his forehead, feeling an immense headache coming on. Vung Min Vin, standing beside him, patted old Ho's shoulder in encouragement. "Don't mind him. Every school has a clumsy first time." Down in the arena, Loi Triet was scratching his neck, sighing with feigned regret. "You're Chu Thun, right? I heard this is your school's first time in the exchange tournament, right? It must have taken so much effort just to drag yourself to level 4, only to run into a brick wall like me in the very first match. Such terrible luck for you. But you have to understand, a genius carries the expectations of many people. There are many things that are out of my hands." As much as I sympathize with your situation, I can't just hold back and let victory slip through my fingers. Chu Thang calmly crossed his arms, rejecting the pity. "That's not necessary. Let's just fight normally with our full strength." The moment he finished speaking, Loi Triet used a footwork technique, moving like a gust of wind. In an instant, he was right next to Chu Thun. Loi Triet tapped him lightly on the shoulder and smirked. "All right, how about this? I'll start by using just 1/10 of my power. We'll just call it a warm-up. If you can actually manage to trade a few blows back and forth, then at least it'll be considered a respectable defeat."
You should seize this golden opportunity, got it? Oh. Chuthung slapped his hand away and flatly refused. No. I said we fight normally. Seeing things happen so quickly, the male MC eagerly announced, "Oh, what just happened?" In the blink of an eye, contestant Loy Triet appeared right beside Chuthun, and then just as quickly put distance between them again. Could it be that he can no longer restrain the urge to settle this match? Well then, without making all of you wait any longer, I hereby declare the final match of the first round. Begin! The moment the signal was given, Loy Triet charged forward like a bolt of lightning. He threw a powerful punch straight at his opponent's face, while at the same time, his eerie movement technique created two other illusions, trapping Chuthun from multiple sides. But the MC didn't miss a single dramatic second. He quickly roared out his commentary. Oh my heavens, what kind of special combat technique is this? Contestant Loy Triet has suddenly split into three people, and even more illusions. It's as if an entire army of clones is attacking at the same time. Could all of these be after-images created by his extreme speed? In his very first match, contestant Loy Triet is already showing us such terrifying skill. It looks like this year's championship battle is going to be an absolute spectacle. Lantam stood in the stands with her arms crossed, observing the fight and muttering to herself, "Tisk, this Loy Triet guy really is a tough nut to crack." In another corner of the stands, Vung Chak Ha also narrowed his eyes, watching the match in silence. But at that same moment, in the VIP room, Ovu stroked his chin, smugly making a silent assessment. Loy Triet's true strength doesn't stop at this level. I had to put in a great deal of effort to recruit a prodigious talent like him. At his current power level, I'm afraid no one can be considered his worthy opponent. Down in the arena, Loy Triet continued to move constantly, creating afterimages, all while smugly taunting, "Why are you just standing there frozen like a statue? You mean you can't even keep up with 1/10 of my warm-up speed?" Well, I guess that makes sense. After all, only geniuses like Wang Zhuo are worthy of being my opponent. It must be tough for a novice like you. Well then, farewell. But just as Lei Che was about to deliver the finishing blow, Chu Cheng suddenly spoke, his voice steady without a hint of a ripple. "Done dancing?" Hearing this, Lei Che froze, his eyes widening in disbelief. Huh? But that was the only opening he needed. Chu Cheng suddenly shot out his fist, landing a devastating blow right in the middle of his face. In the commentary booth, Lillian and the male MC's jaws dropped, stunned into silence. In the stands, Lan Shen jumped in shock, dropping her whole bag of popcorn. Wang Zhuoxia also had to lean forward to seriously observe the situation from the audience seats. Liu Diandian and the girl in green, who had been arguing fiercely just moments ago, both stared with wide, horrified eyes. The arrogant Lei Che took the full force of the wind-splitting punch, losing a few front teeth as he collapsed to the floor, knocked out cold on the spot. The male MC, stunned, grabbed his microphone and stammered into it. What just happened? In the blink of an eye, contestant Chu Cheng threw what seemed to be a simple punch, yet it completely neutralized all of Lei Che's flashy moves, and with contestant Lei Che's superhuman speed, dodging such a simple counterattack should have been easy. So, was it because he underestimated his opponent and got careless? Or was he truly unable to dodge it? From the fan section in the stands, a crowd of outraged schoolgirls stood up, shouting accusations. How dare he punch Lei Che right in the face? Our star, so shameless, that's right. How could a country bumpkin like him ever hope to land a hit on Lei Che? He must have cheated. Hearing this, Chu Cheng scratched his chin and thought to himself, he just kept rambling on and on without attacking, so I decided to make the first move to speed things up. I hope this kind of match doesn't have any weird, unwritten rules. Like, who's allowed to attack first, for instance? Asterisk. Up on the observation deck, Wang Mingyuan patted Hu Wei's shoulder, praising generously, "Now that was a powerful hit. Old Hu's student is no less impressive than these geniuses." But nearby, Ao Wu, with his hands on his hips and his face flushed red, seethed with rage. "Impossible! At level 4, no one is faster than Lei Che. There's absolutely no way your school could produce a contestant like that. You must have hired a proxy fighter." Hu Wei remained calm, taking a sip of tea before slowly retorting, "If it were a proxy fighter, do you think the supervisors in charge of inspections would just let it slide? That they wouldn't notice? Or do you fancy yourself smarter than all of them?" Even though he knew he was losing the argument, Wu Wu gritted his teeth in frustration. Mr. Li suddenly raised his voice, cutting off the argument. "Such a ruckus again. Where's your sense of decorum? The match isn't over yet." The male MC's voice echoed through the speaker system. "The final match of the round of 1/8. Chu Cheng." Suddenly, from the arena floor, Lei Che struggled to his feet and shouted, "Wait! I haven't lost yet!" The MC, startled, quickly changed his announcement. He's up! Contestant Lei Che is back on his feet. The match continues. Hearing this, Lei Che wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and assessed his opponent in a low voice. So you only used 1/10 of your power. It seems I greatly underestimated you. From now on, I won't hold back. My lightning power is about to be unleashed. He spread his arms wide and roared menacingly, Ha 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 ha! Let my lightning resound throughout this entire arena! Chu Cheng stood with his arms crossed, remarking quietly, Such intense lightning energy. Suddenly, a blinding pillar of lightning appeared, tearing through the space in front of him. Then, a series of other brilliant lightning pillars followed, surrounding him completely. Yes. At the same time, the MC excitedly called out, This is it. Contestant Lei Che is using the protective shield on the arena floor to continuously accelerate. Is he about to unleash his ultimate move? The signature technique of Lei Che. Beside him, Lily also gripped her microphone, commenting excitedly, So cool, I can't stand it! On the arena floor, Lei Che transformed into a streak of roaring lightning. Take this! Rumbling thunder's explosive piercing thrust. But just as Lei Che charged forward with the power of lightning, Chu Cheng simply raised his fist and landed another clean, direct punch to his face. The very next second, Lei Che was sent flying 10 meters, sliding across the floor. After throwing the seemingly effortless punch, Chu Cheng turned his head, clicked his tongue, and advised, You should have attacked a little sooner. Before I got used to your speed. At the same time, the MC's voice rang out, filled with astonishment. Contestant Lei Che has been sent flying by contestant Chu Cheng again. The star stone on contestant Lei Che has turned red. This means he has completely lost the ability to fight. Therefore, in the final match of the round of 1/8 for Group B, Chu Cheng is the winner. Chu Cheng pulled his fist back, thinking to himself, I almost couldn't control my strength. But with the star stone protecting his life, that guy should be fine, right? In the stands, the crowd started murmuring, staring at each other in disbelief. Just how in the world did he do that? It was too fast. I couldn't even see his movements clearly before the match was over. The top 8 rankings flashed brilliantly on the large screen. Shiguang adepts Liu Yue, Shimin adepts Zhao Qing, Yunhu adepts Lan Qin, Qingluan adepts Sun Ming, and Shiguang adepts Wang Jexia No. 2. Lanji adepts Xiao Ran, Balaite adepts Zhou Cheng. The second quarterfinal. Yunhu adepts Lan Qin versus Qingluan adepts Sun Ming. Lan Qin wins. The third quarterfinal. Shiguang adepts Wang Jexia versus Shiguang adepts Xia Hao. Wang Jexia wins. As they watched the matches, the audience chattered lively. He also won with just 1 strike? Are they from the same academy? He must not have been going all out, right? Never mind him. The next match is Zhou Cheng's turn. It seemed Wang Jexia had overheard their gossip. He stopped walking, his cold eyes glaring at the 2 spectators with a murderous aura. Stared down by that terrifying gaze, the 2 immediately fell silent, rubbing the back of their suddenly cold necks. The fourth quarterfinal. Balaite adepts Zhou Cheng versus Lanji adepts Xiao Ran. The MC's commentary was non-stop. Xiao Ran's explosive fist truly lives up to its name. His attack angles are incredibly tricky and very difficult to defend against. But contestant Zhou Cheng's dodging ability is as if he's already predicted his opponent's attack trajectory. His speed is so fast that it's completely impossible to react in time. Zhou Cheng wins. In another private room, 2 men in suits were whispering to each other. This Zhou Cheng. It seems he hasn't used a single combat skill since the tournament began. The other man nodded in agreement. That's right. He only uses his aura to strengthen his body parts for physical attacks. He's strong, yes, and his aura control is very refined, but there are no noteworthy techniques. Could it be that his actual rank isn't just level 4, and he intentionally lowered it to sneak into this competition? Or maybe he secretly used some kind of forbidden drug to overclock his abilities. But no matter which method he used, it's a serious violation of the competition's rules. Send someone to check on him immediately. Meanwhile, the MC continued to announce loudly, The next fight is the first semi-final. Balaite adepts Zhou Cheng will face off against Shiguang adepts Liu Yue. The audience suddenly broke into an uproar. Huh? What's going on? Who are these people in black robes? What are they doing here? A stern-looking man approached Zhou Cheng, held out a device, and demanded in a cold voice, Put this on. After you put it on, release your aura pressure once. Seeing this, 2 spectators began to gossip excitedly. Look at this development. They look like special envoys from the city's central district have descended upon us. Special envoys? Aren't they the ones responsible for measuring the ranks of adepts? Could it be that Zhou Cheng isn't actually a level 4? No wonder he's so unbelievably strong. Is this like an adult fighting against children? Meanwhile, Zhou Cheng obediently put on the device, thinking to himself, I guess I really did overdo it. Looks like I'll have to be more restrained from now on and not reveal so much of my strength. 4 screens on the device flickered, displaying name, Zhou Cheng, Academy, Balite Adept, rank, E-Rank, level 4. After getting the official result, the man reported loudly into his radio, rank verification shows no discrepancies. There are also no traces of any forbidden drugs in the contestant's system. After hearing the report through his earpiece, the MC relayed the message to the audience. The special envoy has just confirmed that contestant Zhou Cheng's rank is completely correct. He is indeed E-Rank level 4, and now the semi-final match begins. The audience stared blankly for a few seconds, processing the announcement before they erupted in stunned disbelief. What? No way! He defeated so many formidable opponents one after another, and he's really just a level 4? Semi-final. Match 1. Shiguang Adepts Liu Yue versus Balite Adepts Zhou Cheng. But inside, Liu Yue was panicking, breaking out in a cold sweat. Is this kid really that strong? The very next second, the MC frantically announced, "What is this? It's another one-hit finish. Shiguang Adepts Liu Yue is defeated. It's beyond imagination. Contestant Zhou Cheng has won once again. In a flash, he has majestically advanced straight to the finals." On the podium, Li Lian enthusiastically waved both her arms, cheering, "Go, Zhou Cheng, go!" On the other side, Wang Mingyuan began to nervously wipe the sweat from his brow. "Lao Hu, your student is a little too exceptional for the rule book, don't you think?" Hearing this, Hu Wei could only laugh awkwardly, rubbing his hands together. "That's right, ha ha ha." Suddenly, 2 unfamiliar men approached, greeting him with warm smiles. "Congratulations, Principal Hu. We never expected Balite Adept to produce such a rare and talented prodigy this year. We've always heard about your dedication to education, and now seeing such an outstanding student, your reputation is truly well-deserved. We should all learn from you." Seeing the crowd start to shamelessly flatter Hu Wei, both Wu Yu and Li Kuo's faces darkened with annoyance. "Tisk, tisk!" "Over here!" Hu Wei stroked his beard, his heart swelling with pride. "To think that the first time I lead a team to a competition, we could advance so majestically into the finals? Zhou Cheng, you truly haven't disappointed me, kid." Semi-final, match 2. Shiguang Adepts Wang Jexia versus Yunhu Adepts Lan Qin. Lan Qin strode onto the stage. She clenched her fists with determination. "I've finally made it to the semi-finals. For the honor of my academy, I absolutely cannot lose this round." However, as soon as she was in position, she froze in surprise. Across from her, Wang Jexia was radiating a blazing, murderous aura. At that moment, the MC's voice boomed. "The match begins!" 2 female students in the stands screamed themselves hoarse, cheering, "Go, senior! You've got this, senior!" Wang Jexia shot a cold, bullet-like glare in their direction. Seeing that he was distracted, Lan Qin's eyes immediately sharpened. She thought to herself, seizing the moment, "This is my chance!" With that thought, she immediately stomped on the floor and lunged straight toward Wang Jexia. Unleashing her flowing cloud hand technique, she struck him with a powerful palm strike. But even with a direct hit, Wang Jexia stood there like a statue, completely unharmed. On the contrary, his eyes were bloodshot, staring coldly at Lan Shen like a beast eyeing its prey. Lan Shen's face darkened, and she bit her lip in horror, thinking to herself, "How can this be? Did my attack have no effect at all?" Wang Jexia suddenly swung his arm and grabbed her wrist tightly, asking in a flat voice, "So you're supposed to be famous?" Lan Shen struggled with all her might. Her arm caught in his vice-like grip. She tilted her chin up at him and shouted, "What's it to you?" Wang Jexia mercilessly twisted Lan Shen's arm. He gave a humorless smirk and replied, "Nothing. I just find it hilarious." The pain was excruciating, but Lan Shen couldn't break free. Furious, she tensed her body, preparing to launch another vicious attack. But as if reading her mind, Wang Jexia quickly released his power. He enveloped himself in strange purple energy bands. Lan Shen used the momentum to spin around and unleash her wind scythe kick technique, striking him directly. Believing this decisive blow had been a complete success, Lan Shen clutched her bruised, injured arm, stepped back, and exhaled, saying with relief, "Good. All the hits landed." But this time, fate wouldn't let her celebrate for even a second. As the thick dust cleared, Wang Jexia stood towering behind her like a ghost, completely unharmed. He spoke mockingly. "Playing games this early in the morning?" Lan Shen jumped in shock, thinking frantically, "Since when was he—" She spun around in alarm, only to be ruthlessly attacked by Wang Jexia's raging blood technique. With a single punch that carried the force of 1,000 pounds, he sent Lan Shen flying 10 meters away. She skidded across the ground. Wang Chexia slowly sauntered over to where Lan Shen lay gasping for breath. At that moment, the excited chatter from the stands grew louder. "They're both so skilled! This semi-final is on another level!" The arena is completely torn up, but Wang Chexia is untouched. He's a monster in human form. The two female students who were cheering for Lan Shen earlier started to panic. One covered her face, unable to watch the brutal scene, while the other could only call out her senior's name with tears welling in her eyes. In the VIP stands, Wang Mingyuan was also restless, clenching his fists and quietly encouraging, "Hang in there, Lan Shen." But Lan Shen's whole body ached. She couldn't force herself to get up. Seemingly completely exhausted, she cracked her eyes open and saw the cloth good luck charm lying on the arena floor. She gritted her teeth and told herself, I can't fall yet." Two old memories suddenly flooded her mind. On an afternoon with pouring rain, Lan Shen pushed open the door to a classroom and saw two junior girls huddled in a corner. They were sniffling. Out of habit, she naturally asked, "What are you all gathered here for?" "It's time for practice." Both of them turned to look at her. The black-haired girl, her eyes filled with tears, hesitated before confiding, "Senior, if the academy loses its subsidy from the government, then I'll have to drop out and go back home to work. I want to keep studying. I want to become a guardian and protect people, but—" Before the girl could finish her sentence through her sobs, Lan Shen walked over, smiled, and put her arms around the two girls, reassuring them brightly, "Don't worry. I give you my word I will definitely win the regional tournament championship. When that happens, the Ministry of Education will have no excuse to cut our academy's subsidy. Everyone will be able to continue their studies." The black-haired girl blinked her eyes dreamily and asked, Really? Lan Shen looked at the girl, smiled brightly, patted her head, and joked back, "Of course. Have I ever lied to you before?" Suddenly, the black-haired student seemed to remember something. She frantically pulled a small object from her pocket and said, "Oh, right. This is a good luck charm my mom made for me. I hope it brings you peace and good fortune, Senior. We'll always be behind you, supporting you." After saying that, the girl respectfully offered the small charm to Lan Shen with both hands. The girl beside her also wiped away her tears and spoke up, clenching her fist, "That's right! Let's go give our senior more strength." Moved, Lan Shen accepted the charm, held it tightly in her palm, and said with a warm, gentle smile, "Okay, it's a promise." End of flashback. It pulled her back to the cruel reality. Lan Shen, now bruised and bleeding, mumbled the words of that promise. "It's a promise." She groaned, trying to reach out a trembling, mud-stained hand to pick up the fallen good luck charm. But Wang Chexia, noticing her intention, heartlessly lifted his shoe and stomped mercilessly on the tiny charm. He then sneered contemptuously, "Risking your pathetic life for this piece of trash? How pathetically weak." After saying that, he swung his leg and delivered a brutal kick like a sledgehammer, right into Lan Shen's side. As Lan Shen coughed up blood and collapsed to the floor with no strength left to resist, the star crystal on her uniform was shaken loose by the impact and fell off. Wang Chexia stepped on the crystal, laughing mockingly. "The people who put their faith in you, who supported you, if they saw you in this pathetic state, and would they still have the nerve to cheer 'Go on'?" At that moment, the referee's announcement echoed through the speakers. "The monitoring system has detected that contestant Lan Shen's star crystal has turned red. This means she has completely lost the ability to fight. Wang Chexia is the winner." Even though the system had declared the victor, the crazed Wang Chexia still refused to stop. He ruthlessly raised his heel high, channeling all his energy as he growled, declaring, "This is the end for you, Cloud Lake Sex Paper Hero!" But seeing his act of pure killing intent, the panicked MC screamed into the microphone, ordering him to stop. "The match is over! Security, get in there and stop him now!" Lai, who was standing nearby, turned deathly pale, horrified by the sight. She squeezed her eyes shut, clutched her head, and screamed, "Don't!" But the spectators were also stunned, leaping to their feet and shouting in outrage, "Is he insane? What's he trying to do?" Up in the stands, Wang Mingyuan couldn't stand it anymore. He slammed the table and yelled, "Stop him! Stop him right now!" A bodyguard hurried over, bowed, and pleaded with Grandmaster Bai Yue, "Master, you must intervene. If we don't do something, there's going to be a murder on that stage." But the man just calmly took a sip of his tea. Calmly waving his hand, he said, "There's no need." Bai Yue lazily opened his eyes to watch the good show, as Wang Zexia, like a bloodthirsty beast, ignored everyone's pleas. He mercilessly brought down his heel with the force of a mountain, aiming straight for Lan Shen, but out of nowhere, Chu Cheng shot forward like a flash of lightning. He swept Lan Shen out of the way, narrowly avoiding the fatal kick. Standing firm, Chu Cheng coolly asked, Using your strength to bully someone who's exhausted and defenseless? Is this the so-called noble way of your Shiguang sect? Wang Zexia's foot missed, shattering the floor beneath. He slowly lifted his head, glaring with bloodshot, hateful eyes. His voice dripped with irritation as he asked, "You again? That little punk, Chu Cheng?" The MC quickly grabbed the mic again, professionally commentating to break the tension. "It's Chu Cheng. It is indeed Chu Cheng. He has appeared like a knight in shining armor to save contestant Lan Shen." Right at the critical moment between life and death. Standing nearby, Lai clutched her chest and breathed a sigh of relief. Oh, thank goodness. Wang Mingyuan, Hu Wei, and Teacher Zhang scrambled down to the stage, rushing over to Chu Cheng. Wiping away his sweat, Wang Mingyuan exclaimed, "Thank heavens!" The crowd in the stands began to murmur angrily. Some were condemning Wang Zexia's inhuman actions. Others were passionately cheering for Chu Cheng. The match was already decided, and he still tried to land a killing blow. That's just unacceptable. Go, Chu Cheng! You have to teach that arrogant bastard a painful lesson in the finals! But Wang Zexia maintained his brazenly arrogant demeanor. Rolling his shoulders with a crack, he sneered across at them. A bunch of trash. It doesn't matter who steps up. Adding or subtracting one punching bag changes nothing. Chu Cheng gently set Lan Shen down, his whole body radiating killing intent. He gave the other guy a cold look, a challenging smirk playing on his lips. Is that so? Well then, let's find out. 3 medical teams rushed in, carefully placed Lan Shen onto a stretcher and carried him away for treatment. The organizer's voice echoed from the speakers once more with an announcement. As both contestants have agreed to proceed directly to the final match without a break, to ensure a smooth and fair competition, we ask all technical staff to quickly restore the fighting stage. Thank you for your cooperation. Just then, his 3 friends, Ma Wenhao, Shen Jiarui, and Su Xiaoxia, came scrambling into the stands. They weaved through the crowd to the row where Liu Diandian was sitting and plopped down into their seats. Shen Jiarui noticed she was tightly clutching an LED sign. The text on it read, "Go, lie dissect." So he nudged her with his elbow to start a conversation, asking, "Hey, aren't you one of Chu Cheng's classmates?" Liu Diandian shot them a sharp glare and asked dismissively, "You're from the honors class, right?" Shen Jiarui didn't beat around the bush, getting straight to the point. "So, what's the situation down on the stage?" he asked. Liu Diandian sighed anxiously and answered, "Chu Cheng won all his matches. He's in the finals now. But his opponent in the finals seems really tough." The large screen started a countdown for the next match. Down below, a worried Wang Mingyuan turned to advise Hu Wei. "I can't believe the organizers are letting a bloodthirsty lunatic like that keep competing. I have no idea what that Li family backing him is thinking." "What the hell were they thinking? Old Hu, you need to watch this final match very closely." Heeding his old friend's warning, Hu Wei turned, patted Chu Cheng on the shoulder, and said with concern, "Chu Cheng, you must be careful when you get up there." Chu Cheng just shrugged and answered calmly, "Don't worry, headmaster." With that, he turned and slowly walked toward Wang Zexia, who was waiting in the center of the stage. Wang Zexia stood with his arms crossed, chin tilted up, smugly rambling, "With your lowly background and the pathetic resources of that dilapidated academy of yours, surely you're not delusional enough to think you have a chance of winning? Let me tell you, this fight was already over from the start." Before he could finish his arrogant tirade, Chu Cheng nonchalantly cleaned out his ear and cut him off sharply. "You sure talk a lot. Are we going to fight or not?" Seeing his opponent's blatant disrespect, Wang Zexia flew into a rage. His eyes blazed crimson again as he glared, looking like he wanted to eat Chu Cheng alive. Once the 2 fighters had taken their positions, the announcer's powerful voice boomed from the speakers once more. "Everything is ready. I hereby formally announce the final match for the championship cup begins now." Instantly, a violent and explosive battle broke out on the stage. Wang Zexia stomped his foot, building momentum. He lunged forward, throwing a punch as powerful as a tempest straight at Chu Cheng's face. The terrifying force of the fist, as it missed, smashed into the ground, cracking it open into a deep crater. Dust and debris filled the air. Standing amidst the haze, Wang Zexia jeered, "And here I thought you were actually skilled, not just all talk." But in the next moment, his jaw dropped in utter shock. Chu Cheng had effortlessly dodged the blow. He taunted coolly, "I believe that's my line. The reigning champion for all these years, and this pathetic level is all you've got?" So, that earth-shattering punch of his hadn't landed a single blow or even scratched Chu Cheng. He swiftly pivoted on his heel to counterattack, his hand lashing out like a bolt of lightning, aiming to grab Wang Zexia by the shoulder, but he dodged back, causing the attack to miss. Wang Zexia, feeling humiliated, grew even more furious. He activated his blood boil technique with a roar, preparing to strike again. His fist wrapped in flames, he charged forward. The two clashed, evenly matched, trading blow for blow, neither willing to yield an inch. The MC was glued to the screen. He slapped his thigh in astonishment, commentating breathlessly, "Oh my God! I've been a commentator for over 15 years, but I swear I have never seen a level 4 match of this scale. And with such terrifying destructive power, it's simply unimaginable. And Lai Duyu is a school participating for the very first time." Lilian, sitting beside him, clutched her dress tightly, unable to tear her eyes away from the unfolding match. She nodded, impressed. "Those two, they're unbelievably strong." The chatter of the thousands of spectators erupted like a disturbed beehive. Is that really the guy named Zhou Cheng?" Over with Shen Jirui's group, his eyes widened in surprise as he blurted out, "So it turns out, all this time before, same when we were sparring back at school, that punk was always holding back on us?" Ma Wenhao crossed his arms, also shaking his head in shock. "On paper, there's only a one-level difference between us and him, and yet the gap in actual combat strength is this enormous." Ha! Down in the arena, Zhou Cheng suddenly found an opening and threw a straight uppercut right into Wang Jexia's jaw. That single unflashy punch from him packed immense power, dislocating his jaw and sending him staggering back several steps, spitting blood. In the VIP section, Hu Wei and Teacher Zhang's mouths were agape, awestruck by the incredible power Zhou Cheng was unleashing. Teacher Zhang slammed the table excitedly, loudly assessing the situation. Even though I knew Zhou Cheng had an excellent physical foundation, I never imagined he could actually engage in such a fierce head-on battle with just his mortal body, especially against an opponent with access to the region's top resources. Wang Jexia stumbled back a few steps, his head spinning, dazed from the blow. He raised a hand to his face. Seeing the blood on his fingertips, he whispered in horror, "Blood! I'm injured." To think I was actually made to spit blood by this worthless punk. But the thought of that humiliation made his whole body seethe with rage. His skin began to turn bright red like a boiled shrimp. Wang Jexia threw his head back and roared, using his blood boil technique. Max activation! He charged frantically towards Zhou Cheng like a crazed beast. Suddenly, a golden hand materialized from thin air, floating with its arms crossed, stroking its chin as it assessed the situation. Well now, I never would have expected this. He can forcibly make the essence power in his body erupt to increase his physical strength. So this is the power that mortals call a combat technique? How very interesting. Wang Jexia shattered the floor with a stomp and shot forward like a crimson flash, aiming straight for Zhou Cheng. Even though his opponent's speed had skyrocketed, all it took was a single glance for him to easily track his entire trajectory. Zhou Cheng stood with his hands clasped behind his back, a smirk on his face as he thought, his speed has indeed gotten much faster, but unfortunately, it's completely useless against my perception. And perception, when combined with heightened mental focus, can significantly enhance one's acuity. Activated. On the observation deck, a bodyguard in a black suit, who was glued to the radar screen, quickly turned to report to Bai Yui, Wang Jexia's essence power reading is intensifying, at a highly unusual rate. Grandmaster, should we request the organizers to pause the match and re-verify Wang Jexia's actual rank? No. Bai Yue, who was meditating with his eyes closed, leisurely took a sip of tea before replying blandly. This contestant has used this technique in previous rounds. He's used this combat technique before. It's the Wang family's secret blood boil technique. Using it allows one to force the body to temporarily enhance the strength and speed of its various parts. This allows them to achieve power that surpasses the limits of their current rank. This time, he's just applying the technique to his entire body instead of individual parts. It in no way violates the competition rules. Hearing the Grandmaster's clear analysis, the bodyguard hurriedly bowed low to apologize. Yes, sir. I was careless and failed to research thoroughly. Please forgive my oversight. Bai Yu set his teacup down, a faint smirk playing on his lips as he added another cryptic comment. But what I find interesting is that contestant from Lai Duyu seems to have not used his true strength at all since the match began. I'm starting to get a little curious about that kid. Back to the fierce action in the arena, the two were locked in a dead-even clash. The floor was getting increasingly torn apart, and the air grew scorching hot from the friction of their essence powers. The murmuring among the thousands of spectators rose once more. Just what on earth is the limit of his power? They're moving too fast. My naked eye can't follow their movements anymore. In the audience, Shen Jirui watched with wide eyes, not daring to blink even once. He gripped the railing tightly, shouting, "Zhou Cheng is being forced onto the defensive!" Ma Wenhao, standing beside him with a sharper gaze, shook his head in disbelief and patted his friend's shoulder. No, that's not right. Look closer. He's completely leading the trajectory of Wang Jexia's attacks. In the ring, Wang Jexia furiously threw a savage, flaming punch straight at Zhou Cheng's face. Zhou Cheng simply tilted his head slightly, easily dodging the incredibly powerful blow by a hair's breadth. He glanced coldly at Wang Jexia's twisted expression. Then he spun and delivered a precise, sweeping kick straight into his opponent's ribs. Struck by the heavy blow, Wang Jexia staggered back, losing his balance and hastily digging his heels into the ground. Carving 2 long gouges in the floor, he released all of his essence power to fight against the force. He gritted his teeth so hard they bled, his face contorting as veins and blood vessels bulged. He stubbornly tilted his head back and yelled, "At our level, you're the first one who's ever pushed me this far. But mark my words, I'm the strongest one here." As soon as he spoke, Wang Zexia's entire body erupted like a ticking time bomb, engulfed in a blazing red power. Yet Chu Cheng, standing opposite him, showed not a single shred of fear. He calmly dusted off his shoulder, raised an eyebrow, and asked, "Oh, is that all you've got?" Just then, the aura around Chu Cheng suddenly shifted. A bone-chilling killing intent radiated from his entire body, and his razor-sharp eyes shot out an intimidating glare. The mechanical system voice in his head chimed in. "Report. Power borrowing activated. Remaining uses, unlimited." Wang Zexia is in a state of maximum blood-fueled enhancement. With a roar, he unleashed a devastating punch toward Chu Cheng. But Chu Cheng, now in his power-borrowed state, didn't even bother to dodge and met the attack head-on with his own fist. Its power was no less immense. The 2 colossal forces slammed into each other, but in the instant of impact, Chu Cheng focused all his might, and a brilliant, sharp light flashed in his eyes. He smirked, thinking to himself, "There it is. Through these eyes, I can clearly see the trajectory of his every move. His fatal weakness is his heart." Having pinpointed the target, Chu Cheng slipped past the attack and drove a punch like a sledgehammer straight into Wang Zexia's chest. Wang Zexia, taking the full force of the fatal blow, he screamed in agony, spraying fresh blood. He saw his opponent pulling back his fist, preparing to bring another strike down on his head. Panicked, he scrambled to throw his arms over his head to protect himself. Although he defended in time, the aftershock from the previous punch still left him stunned and dizzy. Wang Zexia, clutching his chest, he staggered, a desperate thought racing through his mind. How can this be? His speed and strength are still increasing. Wang Zexia. The pain was so great that tears streamed involuntarily down his face. He refused to accept this cruel reality. He kept muttering like someone in a trance. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. I'm the genius! I'm the strongest! With that, in a final, desperate effort, he roared in anger again, unleashing all of his remaining aura. His eyes were now blood-red, completely devoid of reason and calm. Seeing this, Chu Cheng remained unmoved, only slowly clenching his fist until it cracked. His flat voice rang out like a death god's sentence. This little farce should be over now. His piercing words were like adding fuel to the fire, successfully provoking Wang Zexia and causing him to lose even more control. Enraged, he poured all of his life force into a final punch aimed right at him. He screamed maniacally, "You're asking to die!" The 2 fists, carrying all of their power, collided head-on, creating a massive, deafening explosion. A world-shaking impact erupted at the epicenter. The shock wave radiated outwards, causing the alloy surface of the arena to crack open and deform severely. The blinding explosion forced everyone in the stands to cover their eyes. Blinded by the glare, Hu Wei couldn't see the situation below through the screen of smoke and dust. She gripped her seat anxiously and turned to Teacher Zhang next to her. "What's the situation? Who won?" The thick cloud of smoke and dust slowly began to dissipate. The figure of Wang Zexia loomed into view, standing tall. The MC's voice hastily boomed over the loudspeaker. "It's contestant Wang Zexia. It's contestant Wang Zexia. Contestant Wang Zexia is still standing firm." But just as the MC's words faded, Wang Zexia suddenly coughed up blood. His knees gave way and he collapsed to the ground with a thud. The red battle crystal on his chest shattered and flew off. It rolled across the floor. Seeing the spectacular turnaround, the MC grabbed the microphone in a panic and quickly changed his commentary. "No, wait! My apologies, ladies and gentlemen! Contestant Wang Zexia is completely unable to fight. The one still standing proudly on the stage is contestant Chu Cheng." At that moment, the giant LED screen blazed to life, displaying a glorious victory banner as a voice boomed across the entire stadium. "Congratulations to contestant Chu Cheng for winning the championship title. Thanks to this, Liduo Academy's final score for the Level 4 group has also made a historic comeback. With a perfect 200 points, they have secured the overall team championship. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first time since the Inter-Regional Exchange Tournament began that an unknown academy from a border region has performed a miracle to win the national championship. In the stands, an unknown male student joyfully leaped to his feet, shouting until his voice was hoarse. Incredible! That was incredible to think our poor suburban region could produce such a powerful talent. Meanwhile, Shenjia Rui and Ma Wenhao's group of friends were going wild with joy, throwing their arms around each other's shoulders and jumping around as they cheered, "We won! We really won! Chu Cheng is the greatest! He truly lives up to his name as our leader!" The two girls, Su Xiaoxia and Liu Diandian, also couldn't contain their joy, gripping each other's hands with tears welling in their eyes as they cheered. I knew he could do it! Down in the coaching area, Teacher Zhang enthusiastically pumped his fist in the air and yelled, "Chu Cheng, you've made us so proud!" Principal Hu Wei applauded loudly, sparing no praise out of sheer pride. "Well done, Chu Cheng." He took off his glasses to wipe away an emotional tear, smiling with satisfaction and remarking, "This time our academy can finally hold its heads high. We won't have to grovel and beg others for every single subsidy dollar anymore." Teacher Zhang, who was caught up in the jubilant celebration, was suddenly brought down to earth by Hu Wei's financially focused words. He turned with a stunned expression and asked, "Huh? Principal? Is the most important part of this glorious victory really the subsidy money?" Not far away, two principals from other schools were whispering and smiling as they discussed with each other, "Look, Principal Hu is still down in the waiting area. We should hurry over to shake his hand and congratulate him." Just networking. Meanwhile, Li Quat, the arrogant principal, had completely lost his initial smug demeanor. He clutched his head in frustration, grinding his teeth and cursing loudly. "Damn it!" Mr. Wu, who had just been sucking up to Li Quat and mocking the others, was now looking around, assessing the situation. Seeing things had turned against them, he immediately took off, running after the other two principals. Changing his tune to suck up, he called after them, "Sirs, wait up! I'm coming to congratulate old Hu, too." But with the match decided, Bai Yue calmly stood up, turned, and leisurely left the office on the VIP floor. Before opening the door to leave, he didn't forget to turn back, wave, and instruct his bodyguard, "Well, the tournament has concluded perfectly. I should be heading back to the center. I'll leave the cleanup and the subsequent paperwork to your team, all right?" The bodyguard quickly bowed his head and replied, "Yes, master, you've worked hard. Have a safe trip." As Bai Yue walked down the hallway, he stroked his chin, mentally assessing, "This contestant, Chu Cheng, he's very good at hiding his true strength. He's actually quite interesting." Just as he stepped out of the VIP room, he suddenly noticed two figures standing by the floor-to-ceiling window, quietly watching the arena below. Bai Yue glanced at the girl with the distinctive hair. He wondered to himself, "Oh? So she even bothered to come all the way out to this backwater place? Could she have also traveled this far because she's curious about Chu Cheng's abilities?" The middle-aged man standing beside the girl with his hands clasped behind his back started the conversation. "I never expected that this poor, underdeveloped suburban area could produce such an outstanding new talent this year. A gem of this caliber. No wonder you specifically requested permission from our superiors to come and watch this match in person. Linan, I heard you have some prior connection with the boy. So what are the chances you can pull him into our guild, G?" Hearing her boss's question, Linan just rested her chin on her hand and said nonchalantly, "He and I were neighbors and played together for a short while when we were kids, but then my family moved. So we lost touch and never saw each other again. I happened to run into him during a mission in the Blackwater district, but he didn't seem to recognize me. Even so, when it comes to recruiting him for the guild, I give you my word that I will do everything in my power to make it happen." The closing award ceremony was in full grand swing. The winning contestants stood beaming on the victors' podium, receiving their trophies and medals. A crowd of reporters and media from the city center pushed and shoved, their camera flashes firing relentlessly. They continuously shoved microphones forward for interviews. Hu Wei, now the proud principal of the Champions Academy, puffed out his chest and declared confidently to the cameras, "Our Lidu Academy may be in a remote border region with extremely scarce resources, but today we have used our strength to prove to the entire region that even barren soil can nurture a golden phoenix." However, the reporters seemed to care little for the principal's cliché-filled speech. They pushed past one another chaotically, raising their cameras and shouting, "Contestant Chu Cheng, could you please look at the camera over here? Hey, Chu Cheng, give us a big smile for a photo." Blinded by the camera flashes, Chu Cheng reluctantly did as they asked. He stiffly raised his hand and waved at the cameras, sighing wearily to himself. Being surrounded and interviewed by this crowd is even more draining and exhausting than fighting my all on the stage. The next morning, in the quiet of the principal's office, Hu Wei was intently reading the morning paper. The front page was covering yesterday's tournament. A large, bold headline caught his eye. Suburban Miracle. Lidu's dark horse suddenly rises. He set the newspaper down, looking emotionally at the young man before him. Chu Cheng, this championship is truly all thanks to you. With that, he pulled open a desk drawer, carefully took out a sparkling, glowing quartz crystal, and handed it to Chu Cheng. He smiled kindly and said, "This is the treasure I promised to give you, if you won. If this energy can aid you on your path of growth, I believe that the founding principal of our academy, looking down from heaven, would surely be very happy and proud." Chu Cheng took the quartz crystal with both hands, his eyes sparkling with excitement as he celebrated silently. "Oh my God, after all that effort, I've finally gotten my hands on this precious item." Hu Wei took a sip of water and didn't forget to offer some sincere advice. "As for your next step, I suspect it won't be long before the big, prestigious academies in the inner district start sending you invitation letters, trying every trick to recruit you. When you have grown your wings and are ready to fly to that bustling inner district, don't you ever forget Lidu, the place that nurtured you, all right?" Chu Cheng clutched the warm quartz in his hand and nodded obediently, promising, "Don't worry, sir. I will never, ever forget what the academy has done for me." Just as he stepped out of the principal's office, Chu Cheng was surprised to see Shen Jirui's group peeking around, out in the hallway. He walked closer and asked quizzically, "The tournament is over, and the school already announced a break. So what are you guys still doing gathered here?" Looking closer, he saw that Ma Wenhao, Shen Jirui, and even Su Xiaoxia were each clutching a fancy piece of paper with a gold border. Shen Jiarui grinned from ear to ear and replied, "Of course we came all this way looking for you." He ran over, slung an arm around Chu Cheng's shoulder, and boasted excitedly, "You'll never guess what happened. I can't believe it's only been a short while since the tournament ended, and yet... This morning, a school downtown sent an acceptance notice straight to our homes. And not just that, it was a direct admission offer from one of the top 5 academies in the region. All of us in our group were noticed and accepted by the 5 major academies.